Hello, all guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I've actually forgotten that for the last couple episodes.
Yeah, I did notice that.
I didn't even notice it until I last re-listened. I completely forgot I did that. Anyway, welcome to the newest episode of the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast, brought to you on YouTube, on Spotify, on Google and Apple Podcasts. I'm Austin. I'm a knockout. Watched a lot of wrestling.
I'm David. I'm a noob, and I haven't watched nearly enough wrestling, and I am your true non-binary ally, because I did notice that Austin forgot that, and I was like, hey, what the fuck?
I'm very sorry, and to think Pride Month is in but a week and a half.
Oof. You're this close to getting canceled, motherfucker.
Aha.
I
am sorry.
I've got my eye on you.
I need to apologize to the non-binary gods. So
I'm sorry, NBs.
That would be what? In wrestling, that's Max the Impaler, I guess.
Max the
they're the most prominent non-binary wrestler I know.
Kid Bandit.
Oh, you're right. Kid Bandit is definitely the non-binary wrestling god. That's correct.
See, once again, here I am coming in clutch for our non-binary pals. And
I gotta be better on the ball for this next week. But for tonight, we are not doing. This is not related to anything that we're watching tonight.
Remotely. We're just talking mad shit at this point.
Yeah. So tonight we had planned to continue the critically acclaimed Brawl for All.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
I mean, the critics definitely acclaimed many things about the Brawl for All.
They acclaim. I mean, in the year of our Lord, what, 1996, 7,
98.
98. Oh, the year of our Lord, 19. There were definitely things that critics acclaimed in the year of our Lord, 1998. They may not have been the Brawl for All, but critics were still acclaiming in 1998.
There were critically acclaimed things in 1998. The Brawl for All was in 1998.
I was born in 1998. Coincidence? I think not.
We'll have to get our conspiracy boards out for the next episode.
True. Pepe Sylvia is all I'm saying.
Because last week there was a pretty monumental moment in wrestling with the passing of superstar Billy Graham.
Which is a name that I've heard bandied about a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is our second ever this is a full-blown tribute episode.
Yes.
And our first since Brody Lee.
Yeah.
And that one was motivated by me having watched a lot of Brody's career. He was still a contemporary wrestler at the time, and it was a big shocking thing.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to kind of talk about Brody instead of having to talk about some dumb Attitude Era shit. I think that was what we were doing at the time.
Probably.
But for this one is more about this is a historic death in wrestling to the point where I feel like we should really look deeper into it.
Yeah, no, something, obviously always a tragedy when someone passed away, even when they've lived a full life. But knowing that this episode was coming, I am kind of excited because I know this is to talk about Billy Graham is to dig deep into the early days.
Tonight,
the contemporary wrestling in its almost infancy.
Yeah, tonight we are going way back.
Yes.
We are not going to the WWE. We're not even going to the WWF. We're going to the WWWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
Man, I'm so fucking happy they chopped off that extra W.
It's it rolls up. The three letters work so much better.
I know.
But we are
and the entirety of wrestling acronyms has since felt the shockwaves.
Yeah. Rhett is Vince Jr., even though Vince hates that name, so I'm just going to keep saying it.
Yeah,
Vince
I know.
Jr.
I've been listening to the Behind the Bastards and listening.
I've gotten David into the media I'm currently consuming that are like, here's the history of Vince McMahon and why he sucks
and why he's the worst. Yeah, I didn't know Billy Graham was at least like the kayfabe younger sibling of like another famous wrestler who was like Vince's buddy for a hot second. Yeah, Dr. Jerry Graham, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Jerry Graham, who that guy is a character, but we're here to talk about Billy.
Yes.
So this is still the company. We are going all the way back to 1976.
Wow.
The furthest back we've ever gone in this podcast. Yeah. May ever go.
By a country mile. Fuck.
The furthest back we've gone before this was 1986. So we are going a full decade further in the past than we have ever been before.
Fuck, dude. That's so insane.
But yes, the company is still being run by Vince's father, Vincent J. McMahon, a.k.a. Vince Sr.
Vince Sr.
Now, the difference between Vince K and Vince J is, as businessmen, minimal, quite frankly. They were both pretty much hard-nosed, carny businessmen. Yeah. The real big difference is that Vincent J. McMahon was a big believer in the tradition of the territories. He was not in the NWA. He broke away from them in 1963 because there was a dispute over who should be the NWA champion, a thing that has caused multiple companies in wrestling history to leave the NWA.
Telling the
but he was even after his company split, he was always friendly with the NWA. They kind of knew him as an ally to the
he apparently served on their board up until his retirement.
Yeah, he served on the board when the feds were poking around the NWA as maybe being a little too antitrust. He was Vince was happy to throw his weight around to make sure nobody testified and blew the operation up.
Yeah.
Like dude was as in it as you could be without actually being an NWA company.
I will say the other major difference I feel like I've learned about between Vince K and Vince J is the fact that the latter has a much more easy charm and charisma than his son ever has.
His Vince J was just as much of a cheating carny fuck,
cheap ass penny pinching.
But he was so much more easily likable than Vince is especially Vince post the 80s.
Yeah.
90s Vince. And when the company got bigger, Vince got weirder.
Well, I love all the accounts of how like on TV in the 80s, everyone always like had weird vibes from Vince. Like it's funny because for me, with nothing to compare it to, it's always kind of been standard to me. But like listening to the Ringmaster audiobook, like just everyone being like, yeah, this motherfucker was just really came across as really goddamn weird on camera, on TNT. And
Vince has always been a weird little dude, always obsessed with wrestling and not being very good socially outside of that.
That's one of my favorite things I've really been learning about him is just what a deeply weird gremlin of a man he is.
But anyway,
he's been new, but like it's fun to have like really explicit confirmation.
Sure, but yeah, Vincent J is This is a 1976. I don't think. He does. Vince K at this job is just an announcer.
Yes.
His dad was like, "You are not getting into wrestling. I work with these people. I know this job. I'm not letting you become a wrestler." But Vince was like, "Please, Dad, let me have a job at your company."
Oh my God. It's also really nice to know that every bit of daddy issues and like wannabe wrestling-ism that we've joked about with Vince K is all
very true.
Yeah, baby.
But you know, Vince J was like, fine, whatever. You could be an announcer.
Yeah.
Especially after his last one was a union man, and he didn't, and Vince J was trying to renege on a pay raise that he forced him into.
Yes, but my favorite detail of that being that when he hired Vince on, he hired him at the raised rate. He just fired the guy out of fucking petty
for daring to ask for the raise.
Yeah, petty ass principal, dude. What a prick.
Oh, absolutely. But we are not here to get too deep into Vincent J tonight. We're here to talk about Billy Graham.
Yeah. Go listen to Behind the Bastards if you want all that scoop.
Yeah, so Billy Graham basically is in many ways one of the most influential wrestlers of all time.
Yes.
Quite frankly, he is up there in American wrestling with the likes of Gorgeous George and Buddy Rogers in terms of, and even Bruno Sammartino as well, as kind of like men who constructed the archetype of what we understand modern wrestling to even be like. Specifically in how that fits in, as I'll explain, is in the olden time, is that like wrestling, it took even though they immediately understood they pretty quickly came on to the idea of like, what if wrestling was fake? How much more money we could make that way? They didn't immediately make the next connection of like, what if we made them over the bigger characters, right? Like they understood the idea of like, let's create a guy who people like and let's create a guy who people don't like.
Yeah.
But that was still very much within this almost basic framework of like, bad guys cheat, good guys don't.
Yeah, and like there seemed to be some understanding of like building a framework of characters and like giving people fun nicknames to the fans to latch onto, but not
to this degree.
Yep.
Gorgeous George in the 50s is kind of credited as like the inventor of the gimmick as we understand it as a modern wrestling fan. Gorgeous George very much being a character. He's mildly queer coded. The guy has frilly outfits and poofed up hair, and you were supposed to dislike him for his femininity as a man. So
what a prissy human that was.
Yeah. But Superstar was a big contributor to, I think what kind of made him so big is he is like a pregender to Vince Jr.'s specific vision for wrestling. Like Billy Graham came out, first of all, he had a bodybuilder's physique at a time when wrestling didn't have that. At the time, it was either the kind of physique you'd have if you were a legitimate wrestler, so pretty muscular, but like brawny more than like ripped, or you looked like a fucking, you know, a dude you would fight in a bar.
Yeah, that seems to be about
straight up beer belly, like a beer belly burly dude in a bar.
Yeah, it seems like there was like I heard about like one motherfucker pre Billy Graham who was like that. It might have even been like I don't goddamn remember.
But he also
George
I guess you also be
George
very lean, right?
That's fair. George Hackenschmidt is like the one guy I've heard come before Billy Graham who's like that, who's like a very thick muscle boy.
But
it was far from common.
Sure, Billy Graham was the one who helped kind of popularize like the bodybuilder physique in wrestling, and especially he comes out with these big boisterous promos, and he comes out wearing tie dye, and hell, he is the one who introduced having listened to a lot of evangelical gospel preachers around him. He thought it was a cool idea to start inserting brother into his promos.
Really?
Yep.
Well, that's fascinating.
Listen, Hulk Hogan's gimmick is like 95% Superstar Billy Graham's gimmick, but I just made it a baby face.
taking a look at him,
he's got the bleached blonde hair. He's got the muscles. He's got the colorful getup. He says brother.
Sometimes he's got the very unique facial hair.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, that's interesting. He also, in some pictures, gives me, like, vague Billy Gunn vibes, but, you know, maybe I'm just crazy.
See it, yeah. But he has these big these kind of promos that that inspired the likes of Dusty and Ric Flair. You know, his look inspires the guys like Jesse Ventura and Hulk Hogan.
Jesus, so, like, my man was like the fucking Prometheus prototype. Holy shit.
He really was. And the fans latched onto this in a way that had never happened before. Because another thing that is that Vincent J did that seems to have been somewhat odd, or at least odd to the NWA, right? The NWA was always built on the idea of a top heel champion that the baby faces are all chasing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think part of that was a bit of the way the territory system worked is, you know, you'd have the big bad guy wrestle town to town, taking on the local heroes that are the top stars of the regional local territory.
Yeah.
And that works better than like a traveling hero who goes around and fights the best of the local villains.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to build up kind of makeshift heat with the traveling heel, I think.
Yeah. Whereas Vincent J was very committed to a top baby face that fights off the challengers, you know.
As you do.
Like, now obviously in modern wrestling, it's a little less extreme than the way Vincent J did it of his time. In fact, like, Billy Graham was the very first WWWF champion to not be a transitional champion. And I don't know if I've explained that kind of term before. But basically, a transitional champion is a wrestler. We're basically champion A. Wrestler A is the champion. You want wrestler B to be the champion. However, you don't want wrestler B to beat wrestler A. Usually the reason for this is because they are both baby faces. So you insert wrestler C, usually a heel, doesn't have to be, of course, to beat wrestler A for the belt, and then he nearly immediately loses it to wrestler B.
Yeah.
So wrestler C gets a bit of credibility because he was a champion and beat the champion before, but he is not they are not trusting him to lead to top stardom.
It's an incredibly structurally flimsy thing to do plot-wise unless you execute it really well and really sparingly.
But it's a quick and easy way to get to the way you want. It's a narrative shortcut. Just give the belt to this other guy and
this motherfucker, I guess. Who cares? Who gives a shit?
But Billy Graham was the first, and I'll give you an example of this. Billy Graham was only the 7th WWWF champion ever. So I'll just go through the lineage of the belt and give you and show off like how unique Billy Graham was for the time. Mm-hmm. So the original champion was Buddy Rogers. He won a fictional tournament in Rio de Janeiro.
Yes.
Not even the last time WWF would use that gimmick. They would also say that Pat Patterson won the Intercontinental title in a fictional tournament in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, sure. I feel like the Pat Patterson thing was probably under much different circumstances though, because wasn't the Buddy Rogers thing because like that was when they split off from the NWA.
Yes, it was. Yeah. It was. They didn't want the NWA wanted the belt to go back to Lou Thesz. Buddy Rogers, the NWA champion. Vince is like, no, I want Buddy Rogers as the champion.
Yeah.
There was a big fight over it, and he said, fuck it. Lou Thesz can have the belt. I'm making my own company, and we're putting the belt back on Buddy Rogers.
And also, in case it's unclear for more noobish listeners, we've been over this in the past, but it's been a hot second. The NWA was very like it was a united cartel of multiple different like regional promotions.
Yes.
But they had a single traveling belt, and they were all kind of in cahoots. And then there was like the WWWF that like orbited around it until
the NWA was a collection of various territories all across the country. They would tell you it was a nice working arrangement
legitimate
for the betterment of everyone. It was
gentleman's agreement
cartel because they all conspire to not compete against each other directly
and to basically make things as advantageous as possible for each of them against all of their competition. Yes. All of their respective competition.
And now the wrestling promoters can't help themselves. So if you were on the border, like the border spaces between territories, were always in dispute, as guys were always trying to test the waters of how much they could make their territory.
Yeah.
But, generally speaking, like Vincent J wasn't running shows in Los Angeles or Kansas City, for example. He had the Northeast territory. That was where he ran.
Yeah.
But anyway, in the NWA champion, how basically all the NWA members kind of worked together to determine who the champion was.
Who got to be the champ.
Right. And who the champion is, who's going to beat the champ. They did the booking of that kind of stuff collectively as a group. And Vince didn't agree with the booking decision, and that caused him to split off.
Yes, you do.
But anyway, Buddy Rogers was the champion, and he was the first ever WWWF champion. They recognize now. This is one of those things of basically how long was he champion and how many days he was recognized as champion are like three different things, as they started billing Buddy Rogers as the world champion on January 25th, 1963. However, he was not recognized as the first ever WWWF champion until April 11th, 1963, when he first got the belt. But then WWE's history books do not recognize the start of his reign until April 25th, 1963.
Okay, why?
I don't know.
Weird.
But whatever. Point is, he was champion for a few weeks. He was champion for either 36 or 22 days, depending on when you want to start that.
Yeah.
Losing the belt to Bruno Sammartino, you might have heard of him.
Yeah,
where
maybe.
He would proceed to be champion for 2,803 days.
6 years, I believe, and some change.
Almost seven.
Jesus. Hey, man, fucking Roman's coming for it. 5 more years. 5 more years.
Don't even talk to me about that.
5 more years. Oh, you know what's happening, brother. You know what's coming down the pike. Ain't no one touching it.
And then in January of 1971, he was defeated by Ivan Koloff, who held the belt for 21 days before losing the belt to Pedro Morales, the forgotten champion of the pre-Hogan era, mostly because he never really came back to the WWE at any point. Pre-Vince Jr. WWF is a lot of like mythologized period where we only really talk about the people who were on good enough terms with Vince Jr. to do business. So Pedro was not that guy, and no, I don't know why.
Didn't Pedro Morales have like a whole thing where he went to Japan or something?
I don't remember the specifics of like why we don't talk about Pedro Morales anymore, but he was the champion for 1,027 days.
Jesus,
then he lost the belt to Stan Stasiak in December of 1973, who held the belt for 9 days before losing the belt to Bruno Sammartino, who had another 3-year-long reign on top of his 7 years as champ, lasting 1,237 days.
That's fucking cool. Sorry, I'm looking. I've gone down a rabbit hole of like I guess Pedro Morales has had the most combined days as the Intercontinental champ. Fun fact.
Interesting.
Yeah. 3 people have more combined days than the Honky Tonk Man at his single longest reign, 454. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, the rabbit hole moment there.
Right. So Bruno Sammartino was the champion for 1,200 more days.
Yeah, you know.
And then in April of 1977, he lost the belt to Superstar Billy Graham. Who would hold the belt for 296 days.
Damn. Fucking even compared to pretty much everyone that came before him, he reads like a transitional champ.
Yeah. And even if you take into consideration Vince Jr., to be honest, wasn't that much different than his father in terms of like who gets the lengthy title reigns. Mm-hmm. Because Superstar Billy Graham has the second longest heel world title run, has the third longest heel world title run, and the second longest heel WWE title run in WWE history. The only people with longer heel runs than him are Brock Lesnar with the Universal Championship and Roman Reigns' current run as Universal WWE Champion.
Wait, I thought you said with any belt though.
With any world title?
Oh, any world title. Okay, because I was gonna say again, Honky Tonk Man should be that out
with the world title. Oh, okay, Billy Graham has the third longest heel world title run of all time in the WWE. Punk comes very close, but with his 400-day reign, but he only turned heel halfway into the reign. So he's not, his days as a heel champion do not match Billy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So this is a historic run. And another thing I think worth mentioning is that like Billy Graham was the first long time is another way of like how the game changed with Billy Graham. And I think this leads more into Vince Jr.'s philosophy as well, is that as he was a colorful character, right? And I mean specifically like what his character was, because like Vince Sr., especially for longtime champions, leaned more, I've heard it called like the ethnic champion, where your gimmick is, I am this ethnicity and I am a beloved babyface to play to that ethnicity crowd. Bruno was an Italian-American, and again, WWF ran New York, Boston, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh.
Pizza. Forget about it.
He was Vince Jr. Vince Sr. was playing to the locals by making the Italian-American his champion for 10 years.
Oh my God. Those motherfuckers would have eaten that shit up and not questioned a second of it.
And Pedro Morales was Puerto Rican and was a big hit with Latino audiences. Yep. And that's why he was champion for 1,000 days.
Well, something I learned is that Hulk Hogan was given his surname because it was fucking Irish, and McMahon Sr. wanted some Irish rep out there, so he's like, "Hey,
if Vince Sr. had still been running the company when Hulk Hogan was on the come up, he probably would have emphasized Hulk Hogan as an Irishman."
Absolutely, even though Hogan refused to dye his hair red, you know.
Right, of course. When I was a boy growing up in Ireland, dude, I watched a lot of movies about Detroit, brother.
RoboCop. You know, they were originally going to cast me in RoboCop, dude, but I said no way.
They were going to cast me in RoboCop, dude, but I just didn't have time, brother.
They said I was going to have to shave my beard, and I said no way, dude.
And I said no way, brother. Anyway. So
I'm proud of a proud Irish tradition of blonde Irishmen, dude.
Yeah. So Superstar Billy Graham kind of represents a top champion that wasn't playing to an ethnicity. Like, that helps that he was a heel, of course.
Yeah.
But like he was just like, his gimmick was more about his attitude, his cocky, arrogant attitude. Yes. And I think that's a more like direct connection to the kind of character a Hulk Hogan was. Like,
Absolutely.
Like, again, I think Hulk Hogan is basically the babyface version of superstar Billy Graham.
Yeah, it kind of reads like it, except Billy Graham wore pink, brother. And I don't know if the Hulkster would have gone for that.
So Billy Graham is the current champion at the time that we're watching. We're going to watch the June 27th, 1977 WWF episode. And how are we going to watch it, you might ask? Well, Peacock actually has a few of these old wrestling shows, specifically from WWE Network. They did WWE Old School, which was basically where they dumped their house shows, their old house show product.
Oof, ow.
And because basically, first of all, you need to understand is that all those title changes I just said, none of them were on TV. They were all on house shows.
Oh, yeah, I forgot, because this was way back in the day before TV was, like, fucking important to people.
Yes.
Oh.
However, the WWF had an agreement with the Madison Square Garden network. If you don't, that is the MSG network is a regional New York cable channel.
That apparently turned into the USA network?
No.
Maybe I missed.
Well, no, that's a different. The Madison Square Garden Sports Network becomes the USA Network. The MSG Network is a different thing.
Okay, I understand.
That is basically if you are in the local New York area and you regularly watch like New York sports teams that play like that don't play like the NFL, for example, like the NBA, MLB, hockey, NHL. Like, you're regularly going to probably watching it on the MSG network because they basically broadcast. They focus on New York sporting and entertainment events in the New York area. Okay. And Madison Square Garden, hence the name. And so WWF had monthly MSG shows that were broadcast on the MSG network, and a significant number of them, more from after Hogan became champion than before, were put up on the WWE network as under WWE Old School and carried over onto Peacock.
Well, that's cool that they saved some of that archival footage.
Mm-hmm. And so we're going to be watching an episode of the WWF on MSG network.
Fuck. That's sick.
And, I'm going to, I didn't do a ton of research into like the match types and matches and everything, but I will say though, is that I'll go ahead and announce some of what we're going to watch is that Billy Graham is on this card in a WWF title match with Bruno Sammartino. You could argue that this is kind of the end of Bruno's peak. We are kind of nearing that end point, right? Like his peak is the 60s when he was the champion for 7 years. But then, he's still the champion for 3 more years in the mid 70s. And but this is like, now that he's lost the belt, we're going to slowly phase away from Bruno being the unstoppable king champion of the company. We're building to Bob Backlund taking that spot.
That's so cool.
And Billy Graham is basically one of Bruno's last legendary rivals.
Yo. Whoa, bro. This is such a wild fucking who's who of like classic stars who I've heard of but not seen a lick of content from.
Yeah.
Fuck. Because, Backlund was like the last pre-Vince Jr.
He was the last
champ,
Vince
right?
Sr. champ.
Yup.
Like, one of Vince Jr.'s very first things he did was have Iron Sheik beat Bob Backlund so he could
and then
lose
be
the
a transitional champ to Hogan. Yep.
Right. Bob Backlund was the last top guy under Vincent J.
You'll love to see it.
And he also kind of fits the mold that Vincent J. He was kind of very much an all-American boy type.
He was like a fucking Boy Scout ass, right?
Yeah, howdy doody Boy Scout, which they, depending on who you talk to, and it's hard to sometimes trust WWF narratives on this.
Really?
But he didn't hit quite as well as Bruno. And so, and was somewhat upstaged by other top baby faces of his time, like Jimmy Snuka.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because from what I gather, Bruno had kind of like a bit of a more firecracker energy to him, whereas Backlund seems very like, Backlund seems very akin to like Cena, from what I understand.
Yeah, for a guy who was champion for 2,135 days.
Oof.
Which, to be fair, this is weird and confusing because Japan, and I will explain. That basically Bob Backlund had 2 reigns and they were turned into one, because in November of 1979, he lost the belt to Antonio Inoki. However, Inoki immediately vacated the belt after a title defense with Backlund ended in a no contest. And so the WWF does not acknowledge Inoki's reign at all, and instead
that's what I was thinking of earlier.
2 reigns as one continuous, uninterrupted reign.
Yeah, fuck that. Antonio Inoki, WWE champ. That's what I'm fucking saying.
The pre-TV World Championships can get fucky. There are a significant number of unrecognized NWA title reigns.
Antonio Inoki fucking deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Is he? Some part of
Oh, no, he is.
He is. He was inducted in 2010. I'm impressed.
Oh, wow. Okay. I would have figured they would have gone completely cold turkey if they refused to acknowledge his reign like that.
No, they're happy to pretend. They're happy to put in people in the hall that are part of wrestling history, even if they never really wrestled for WWE. But fuck you, man. Bob Backlund was champion for 2,000 days.
That's so weird for the WWE to just be like, "We are the arbiter of all wrestling. Here you go, person who's never really worked for us."
That's what happens when you win the Monopoly race, I suppose.
Yeah, but it's even fucking internationals, like Antonio Inoki. Like, my man's not American, he lives in Japan. It's just like, at least I have some justification for fucking putting Great Muta in there because he's a WCW guy.
Mm-hmm. Inoki, besides working joint shows with WWF and WCW, was never a part of any company that WWE owns the rights to.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess if he worked those joint shows, sure, why not, whatever.
But he was doing it as a representative of New Japan. He wasn't doing it as part of the roster.
Yeah, well, close enough, all right. If they walked in under our umbrella, we basically own their asses, man.
Yeah, of course. Anyway, so Bob Backlund, for a champion, he was there. Bob Backlund wasn't quite the big star you would expect for a guy who has had the belt for 2,000 days. Yeah, but anyway. So back to what we're watching tonight, 77. Right, so Bruno versus Billy Graham. So that's a pretty all their matches were pretty monumental.
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
And especially because Billy Graham beat Bruno in Baltimore. He beat him in Baltimore. I thought he beat him in Pittsburgh. Huh. That would have been the real big fuck you. And they probably didn't. They probably did that in Baltimore instead of Pittsburgh because I think the crowd might have stabbed Billy Graham if he did it in Pittsburgh.
Oh my god, that would be insane.
Apparently, they're you can find the match online where he beats Bruno for the belt, and apparently there are a few people in the crowd who look like they're about to pull a knife.
Yo!
And Billy gets the fuck out of there.
Based.
So anyway, let's look into who the other champions in the company at the time were, because I mean there were only 3 belts, so at the time it was the WWE title, the Intercontinental title, and the tag title. That is it.
Oh damn! I'm surprised they had the tag titles back then.
Well, hell, not even the Intercontinental title. That was Pat Patterson won that in 1979. So, all right, who is the WWE Tag Champions? All right, who is the WWF United States? No, that's not it. It's the Intercontinental. All right, here we go. The World Tag Team Championships. Who would have been the champion? The WWE Tag Champions in 1976. 77, excuse me. Okay. Billy White Wolf and Chief Strongbow.
Okay.
What? No fucking way. So I'll get to Chief J Strongbow in a minute.
Yeah, I know a little bit about his deal.
But Billy White Wolf is fucking Adnan Al-Kassi.
No way. No fucking way. You're lying to me right now.
No, he is.
No. What? No?
I was going to talk about this more with Chief J Strongbow, but I guess I'll bring it up here.
Yeah.
We are in the peak era for fake Native American gimmicks.
Billy White Wolf. Ah. What? Anyway, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so in this period of time, you know, there were a lot of wrestlers who were like, you're brown enough so you can be a Native American.
Yeah, you know, as you do.
One of them is Billy White Wolf, who is the Iraqi Adnan Al-Kassi, bestest friends with Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein, IRL. Wait, Mr. Fuji was actually a wrestler who won the fucking belts? What the shit?
Yes. Fuji might have a match on this show, actually. I don't know.
What the fuck?
So,
okay.
This for Adnan Al-Kassi. This is after he has fled the country of Iraq, because hilarious story here. So Saddam Hussein learned that his bestest bro from high school was a wrestler. And so he was like, let's stage wrestling shows in Iraq to, you know, distract from my work as a dictator. Except Saddam Hussein was a fucking mark who thought wrestling was real. So Adnan Al-Kassi had to like covertly, he booked all of these Americans to come to Iraq and lose to him at risk of death for everyone involved, quite frankly. And then he had to flee the country because Saddam Hussein started to think that Adnan Al-Kassi was becoming more popular than him. So that man has got to die. My plan has backfired. I have made too big of a star. Adnan must die.
Also, apparently fucking Mr. Fuji has the most days of the World Tag Team Championships in WWE. This is the one that gets cut off in like 2010, so maybe this is not actually, but like in favor of continuing the WWE Tag Team
Championship. His team, the Demolition, were the longest reigning World Tag Champs for a significant
combined reigns by team. Yeah, so wait, so Demolition have the longest combined like reign as a team,
but as days with between 5 different people, Fuji was tag champs for 932 days.
Yes, insane. Holy shit.
The New Day could have potentially beaten that by now. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but that's a different championship probably.
Yeah, but anyway, so Billy, now Adnan fled Iraq. He's in America now, and he's wrestling as a fake Native American. And he's wrestling alongside an Italian American, also being a fake Native American, Chief J Strongbow.
I love, you know what? I love me some ethnic pandering, all right? I can't wait. I can't wait until the days when Adnan Al-Kassi finally admits to actually his real race and then uses that to pander in a completely different way. You'll love to see it.
Now, to give credit, if I have to give credit for anything, that the other biggest Native American star of the era was Wahoo McDaniels, who was a legitimate Native American ancestry.
I didn't think they got those in 1970. In the 1970s.
Yeah, Wahoo McDaniel.
Oh man.
Chief J Strongbow, his Wikipedia page has the lineage Wahoo was Choctaw Chickasaw Native American.
That is a legitimately Native American man.
Jay Strongbow was an Italian American.
As you do.
He was as legitimately Native American as actor Iron Eyes Cody.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Anywho.
We got a little bit off track here.
Yeah, so Chief Jay Strongbow is on this show, but he is not tag teaming with Billy White Wolf. He is tag teaming with Andre the Giant.
What? Andre?
So it's time to see 1970s Andre the Giant.
My God. Andre before it was fucking depressing to watch him in ring. You'll love to see it.
Exactly.
And
they will be facing in a tag team match against Nikolai Volkov.
Oh,
he's doing his bit of I'm gonna sing and salute the Soviet national anthem.
Yeah.
And Ken Patera.
Tell it to me. No, damn it! I was so excited for you to say Iron Sheik.
No, Is the Iron Sheik even in the WWF at this point? I don't think he is. Hey, look.
Let's see.
No, at this point he is not joined the WWF yet. He is still working kind of as a jobber in like the AWA.
Oh my God. Okay, and 79 is when he shows up. Okay.
Yes. And his real big run with the WWF wasn't until 83. Yeah, so at this point, and Ken Patera, his gimmick is basically that he was an Olympic strongman, and then he turned that into a heel wrestling gimmick.
Oh, wow. Where have I heard something like that before?
Oh, you know.
Somewhere a young Kurt Angle is taking notes.
Oh, I was thinking of Dino Bravo, because we were just in 1991. 1990, because he did he was also literally a strongman. Who turned that into a wrestling gimmick.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that is, there's, it's not like there's like this big story push to follow or anything. This is, we're just watching, this is 1976, baby. We're just watching a Madison Square Garden show.
Running stories. We just got some terrific bouts for you this evening.
Oh, yeah. So I'm excited as we dive so far deep. Vincent K. McMahon doesn't even own the company yet.
Fuck yes. Based.
As we dive on our way back, if you would like to watch along with us, again, this is on Peacock under the WWE Old School section. It is the June 27th, either 27th or 26th, 1977. There's only one June 97 show, so you'll find it. 1977, excuse me. You'll find that, and we'll be back in the back half to discuss the WWF on the Madison Square Garden network.
Fuck yeah.
And we are back. We have finished the WWF on MSG Network show from June 26, 1977. Well,
we did, Austin.
Well, I'll go ahead and open this one. Please. I like to think that on this podcast, I'm an open-minded person. That, there are eras where, especially the Attitude Era, rip in peace, or I'm kind of like, this really isn't for me. Mm-hmm. But, I like to try to respect what people would have liked or do like about these eras. Find the good in stuff that I mostly don't like. Fucking hell, I hate wrestling from the 1970s.
Oh my God.
This shit sucks.
I can have that perspective of like, I get why. And part of this is almost certainly because, our brains have been accustomed to the spot monkeying of the day.
Yeah. Oh, I got a thing to say about that, actually.
Oh, I have some.
When I came to a realization of why I think I hate these matches so much.
Oh,
part of why, anyway.
I'm excited.
That's related to the spot monkey stuff, but continue.
Well, no, I agree. But like, I understand why, in the same way I understand like why people watch, like, I don't know, UFC But man, this was a hard watch, and there is a certain point at which I disconnect, and I simply can't understand how some of these things got like nuclear tier reactions from the audience.
I absolutely zoned out during Baron von Raschke versus Ivan.
I forced myself to pay attention.
I don't know if I ever made my way back.
I forced myself to pay attention so I could get some like decent quality notes, but man, that only made it kind of worse.
Yeah, so like we're here.
We're here in 1977.
I think on some level I got like the appeal of Billy Graham though, watching a full show of this era. To me, Billy Graham stood out quite a lot.
He was one of the standouts, at least to an extent.
As best he was allowed to be given the structure of his match.
Yes. And as far as I could see it, like he certainly had a firecracker personality, and I can understand how, even if it's not as refined as what I'm used to in the year of our Lord 2023, I can see how it got people electrified back in 1977.
Yeah.
But oh my God.
I see the building blocks for wrestlers of the 80s.
Oh, like 100%.
What they made their shtick. How they
better said, and especially now that you and I are both like deep diving into like the history of Vince McMahon, wrestling magnate, I can see the building blocks of what like what drew Vince in and what he built from. Because it was a bit of an inorganic evolution. Because it was one man like inserting his own deeply weird sensibilities into this art form. But he still didn't completely abandon the foundation. So you can see those foundations at work here. And you can still see the foundations of other types of non-Vince McMahon helmed wrestling that has, since come on the scene. But oh my God, the presentation is so different. We open it's only Vince on mic.
Yeah, that's wild to me.
That was a not good idea.
No, Vince is I've never hated Vince as an announcer as much as a lot of people do. But I don't think he's strong enough to carry his show. To carry it on his own.
No, he needs backup. I can understand why people have a problem with him when he's flying on his own. I don't usually see him flying on his own. I usually see him with somebody to work on.
Yeah, most people's
Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, most people's negative views of Vince as announcer come from when he was in the New Generation into the earliest days of the Attitude Era, when he was still doing announcing.
I don't take all that much umbrage with him in the New Generation.
Yeah, I don't either. And hey,
I find Savage more annoying on commentary than I do Vince.
And heck, I mean, Vince has one of the most famous calls in all of wrestling history. Can't take that away from him.
Oh, absolutely.
Is during the Kane debut, he is the one who's like, that's gotta be Kane.
Wait, that's him?
Yeah.
Oh,
most people probably remember it being JR because he's the voice of the owner. No, Vince is the one who says that's got to be Kane.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. He has that talent, but again, he needs someone to work with. And again, part of that there is like he's working within his own framework that he's created. Whereas in 1977, this deeply weird man.
This is him calling his dad.
Has to call his dad's deeply normal product.
Yeah, this is
this is?
Normie.
You know what 1977 wrestling is? It's fucking normal SpongeBob going, "Hi, how are you? Beautiful weather we're having, isn't it?"
Shit, it is.
I've worked a weird amount of SpongeBob references into my notes tonight, and by that I mean like 2 or 3, but still, that's a lot.
I mean, that's relative. A lot. If I had a nickel for every SpongeBob reference, you.
Well, that's probably that. Well, the normal SpongeBob is de facto my 4th. That one isn't even in my notes. I just had that thought, but yeah. That's what we're dealing with here, folks. And fucking, we open with Courier new ass font, for the. Announcement text of "This is the Worldwide Wrestling Federation." And it stays that it's Courier new. It's like normal font size. It's orange for some reason. And it's just kind of like that's what it is for the entire episode. That's all of the like
it's
super
just font.
titles.
It's the same font that you would use if you like pulled up like a computer screen, like
Fucking
an old school
typewriter.
computer screen or
Yeah.
a typewriter. Like this is the font you look at. Madison Square Garden presents Championship Wrestling.
Okay, no.
Phenomenal.
Madison Square Garden presents. Pause for it to switch to the next title card.
There's only so many. Can't work the title cards.
It's so stilted. We open the show with Jose Gonzalez versus Jan Nelson. Jose Gonzalez is our face.
There were no name graphics that I saw, and I had to look it up online to make sure I had the names right. And in fact, it's a good thing I did, or I would have called him Chad Nelson the whole time.
Oh boy. Oh, I have things to say about the audio and the subtitling, but that's later. Yes, Jose Gonzalez is Puerto Rican and surprisingly our face.
Yes.
Jan Nelson is our heel, or as Vince puts it, our aggressor for the match.
And he is a dude. If I've ever seen one.
That sure was a guy. He also had a nice little like bomber jacket on.
Yeah.
I did dig that. I was giving me kind of Squirrel Girl vibes almost. We begin this episode as we will end it, and as we will spend most of our time in it on a very weird note. Just everything's a little off. False start. We have a false start where Gonzalez like runs up to Jan Nelson, but the bell hasn't actually rung yet, so he just kind of retreats back. Okay. But they do ring the bell, and as Vince puts it, they do a little two-step around each other.
They strut around each other, and God,
30 seconds.
I make so many notes related to, can we just start a match when the bell rings?
No.
Anyway, also made a note of the WWE old school flashback pop up.
Yes.
Where they just talk about shit that was happening in June of 1977.
Now, this is the only time, mind you, that this happens in the entire episode. We get no other like added things for the streaming service re-release of this telecast. It's just this single like set of like 3 historical fun facts about what happens in June 1977. And I hated the episode off the bat solely for being set in the same month in which Kanye West was born. Sidebar, have we ever gotten Kanye on WWE TV? Because I feel like he and Vince would be
way.
Very interesting bedfellows. They would fit, but it would also be disturbing.
No, he feels like a guy, like if he was interested, he probably
would,
guest
right?
hosted Raw in 2009 if he really wanted to do that. But no, he did not.
I am really shocked about that. He feels like a dude who would have popped up on WWE at some point. Also, okay, Knockout, help me out here. There's some bits of historical context that I am going to try to invoke your expertise on. Why the fuck is the ref not dressed like a ref?
No, I mean, yeah, he is. That's the old school ref attire.
Except it's not, because halfway through we get other refs who are dressed in like the usual ref attire. This motherfucker's dressed like a mechanic, and I thought he was Adnan Al-Kessi at first.
I don't know, because like I didn't notice it.
You didn't.
Anything different? I didn't notice anything different
he looks
about
like
him.
a fucking mechanic.
I really didn't pay close attention to the refs at any point in this, really.
Okay, sure. Anyway, so Jan Nelson attempts some shenanigans, and we hear someone, I couldn't tell if it was him or a motherfucker from the audience yelling ha ha.
Probably someone from the crowd.
Yeah.
I made note of when these early moments, you got Jose Gonzalez getting Jan Nelson in like a hold, and then Jan Nelson goes to the ropes to get him to break, and Vince like implies that he's being cowardly doing it that way. He calls it a shortcut.
Why doesn't this damn guy just pull himself up by his bootstraps and get submitted like a real man?
Listen, the moves per second, right?
Dude,
on this show.
It's so perfect you say that, because literally my
Holy
next note
shit.
was my work rate.
The work rate is not fast at all.
The work rate is like 3.
So like Jan Nelson throws a punch, one punch misses, and then he just like throws a fucking fit for a few minutes.
I know.
It's so fucking
and Vince
weird.
is over here trying to say that Jan Nelson has resorted to rather aggressive tactics thus far. Wrong.
And then we get work that arm as Jan Nelson gets Jose Gonzalez in an arm bar, we'll spend the next like 5 minutes straight on this particular sequence.
To quote Vince, he can just turn you around so quickly and pin you before you know what's happened. You know, I guess if you're a fucking snail, Jesus Christ, my man.
So wrestling or at least WWF wrestling, I don't want to be unfair and consider and think that like all wrestling in 1977 is exactly like how WWF presented wrestling in 1977.
Yeah, because even Vince Sr. had his own idiosyncrasies.
Right, I don't want to be unfair like that, but this New York wrestling in 1977 was extremely built around rest holds and long hold spots.
Yes. This is where I get it, because when we've dipped into Golden Age, I've talked about how like it feels like at its sportiest, the WWF in the Golden Age. It feels like it was at its most like we are trying to pretend like this is a legitimate sport and present it that way. And a little bit of like WCW had that about it too. Oh man, did I lack perspective?
We can get sportier.
Yeah, this is the epitome of this is a sport. This is not a spectacle in any sense outside of the like basic ass morality tales. This is a wrestling match,
so they are going to work wrestling holds.
Yes, and I can't throw shade on the workers because this too took technical prowess. And a technical prowess that they clearly had. It's not the same technical prowess, and I would argue it's probably not quite as impressive technically as, like, you know, what your Bryan Danielsons and Daniel Garcias of the world can do today.
Well, I didn't tell you this, and again, maybe this could very much be my modern poison-pilled brain of wrestling, but I wouldn't call myself someone who isn't a fan of technical wrestlers, at least in the sense of what modern wrestlers are. I love Bryan Danielson. I love Daniel Garcia. I love Zack Sabre Jr.
Going back, I love me some Bret Hart.
Bret Hart, phenomenal, one of the greatest of all time. Mm-hmm. You know, you had these wrestlers who in later years would figure out a way to bring a certain level of theatricality even to what is supposed to be like the most sportiest technical wrestling holding.
Yes. But like these guys are doing their job as laid forward. Their job wasn't to make it the single splashiest thing in the world. They're doing their job as it was put forward to them, and I can't throw shade on that. But man, is it a slog?
Yeah, I don't want to blame them because it's not like this is what wrestling kind of was.
Yeah, and you can tell like a lot of them are at the top of their game in some respect or other.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna be mad that these guys don't know what like a German suplex is.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much.
Like this is what these guys have like been taught to do. That this is the way you be a wrestler, and the crowds do respond to this shit.
Yeah,
so it's not like you're getting them
used to,
right? So it's not exactly like you're getting the message. Don't do this, you idiots. Yeah. So like I can't blame the individual wrestlers for wrestling the way they do. That I don't like the style, but like it's not really the fault of any individual wrestler here.
But the thing that baffles me is how they can hold on a single grapple for like 5 minutes and have the crowd going bananas for the entirety of that.
Well, kids these days just ain't got no patience, David. Back in our day, we had the patience to sit there for 5 minutes and wait for Jose Gonzalez to get up. We were patient. We had the ability to wait.
Oh my God.
Instant gratification.
Oh yeah? And what does it get you? Like 2 seconds of actual work rate and then back to more like bullshit. If that's what patience yields me, I'll stick with my ADHD. Thank you very much.
Agreed.
I don't like. Their minds must have just been they must have, I don't know, been conditioned to fill in the blanks or something. It's so much simpler.
I got another thing to bring up about this in the next match is where I thought it was fair. About this.
I guess I've been spoiled on like the more complex version of this sport, but like, man, it sure feels dull at times.
Holy Moses!
Oh my God! And then so we get fucking. I forget who the first pin attempt is on, if it's on Jan or it's on Jose. But whoever we get our first pin attempt, and this ref. He's moving like he's taking a sweet time. Yet he's making sure that both of those shoulders are being.
He's going 1,000, 2 1,000.
But it's not even that. I think we just get 3 1 counts in a row because my man taps and then a shoulder will pop up. And then it'll slowly get rested back down.
Yeah,
and
that is one of those
fucking ref then
things.
Goes to double check that both of the shoulders are squarely on the mat. Then he 1 counts again, and the cycle continues in fucking perpetuity.
Yeah, now, I will say is that like I took note of like these instances, not necessarily in a negative. Like these are takes I have that aren't like positive or negative, just things I find interesting in the way that wrestling is presented outside of like the modern TV Vince McMahon sensibilities. Mm-hmm. And one of those is like, not every pinfall is a 2 count, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of variance.
There are no 2 counts in this shit. It's all 1 counts.
Well, not in this match. No.
For most of the episode, it's only 1 counts.
Okay. But like, there's a lot more, it's more variability in like how pinfalls go.
Yeah.
In a way that like modern wrestling isn't. It's like everything is at least a 2 count. It's like if it's a 1 count is now like it's either like super early in the match or it is a narratively significant moment to get a 1 count.
Yeah.
Like when the Young Bucks hit the Kamigoye on Kenny Omega and he kicked out at 1 because it's like that's the Golden Lovers finisher.
Oh,
and you dare do that to me.
Oh.
So he kicked out at 1 and was like fired up about it. Like it's a big moment for later in the match now to get a 1 count. And here it's like whatever.
Yeah. But again, it's that narrative thing of like, for me, I've always been able to, I guess, fill in the blanks in my own way of like, you take as much rest time as you can, even if that's only an extra second.
Yeah, that's how I've always justified pinfalls too. Is the way I always go like that. Is because it's like you if you know that you can kick out in time, then okay, then take your time. Like don't worry about it.
Take your extra second. I will say Jan Nelson and pretty much everybody across this episode. If there is something that all these motherfuckers can't get theatrical about, it's their selling. Oh man, do these boys sell for each other. Nelson was our first sell king of the night. Especially as Jose Gonzalez lines up to just casually hit him with fucking 4 drop kicks in a row.
Oh yeah, holy shit. He needs to calm down with that work right there, son. 4 drop kicks in a row.
These young new guys and their spot monkey flippity do bullshit.
Yeah, also interesting that like I was listening before that's the finish of the match is the 4th drop kick.
Yeah, but, and then Nelson tries to kick out on 3 and just
that's a 3.1 kick out right there.
That was a 3.1 kick out. But it was fucking close.
Something also I kind of noted about in kind of like in like comparing wrestling post Vince WWF wrestling looks like, post Vince Jr. I mean, is like in some ways, Vince Jr. is gonna like really clamp down on the morality of how you act as a wrestler, or at least like in terms of baby faces. Eventually, he's gonna get there. Like I feel like all the baby faces tonight were, or at least some of them, I guess, were more willing to kind of do things that I would traditionally think of as like obvious classic heel shit. An example of that is when Jose Gonzalez finally gets out of the fucking armbar. He does so by like punching at Jan Nelson and then rakes him in the eye, which is such a traditionally heel move to do.
I can't remember.
I was like, what?
That, but I did definitely have moments of like, why is the face acting like this?
Oh, there's one in the Patera. There's a big one in the like the big hype tag match. This felt like, how are you being the baby face right now?
Because they're over and who cares?
Yeah. Anyway, in 9 minutes and 46 seconds, most of the matches tonight, they announced the
fucking time a lot. This is a real wrestling sport.
This is sport. And I was like 9 minutes and 46 seconds. How long was that fucking arm bar? This felt longer than 9:46, and that's not going to be the only match tonight. I'm like, this felt longer than what you just said.
That's pretty much it's almost every match tonight.
The last two, notwithstanding, and we'll
get there. For some reason, Jose Gonzalez, again the winner, exits the ring while Jan Nelson stays in ring to celebrate, and the audience doesn't take advantage of this.
Howdy baby or whatever, I don't know.
But he's like raising his arms, like yeah, and the audience is.
Well, it's like he thinks he won, but also Vince does not play. I don't know what Jan Nelson was doing. There was a miscommunication somewhere of what to do here.
I was wondering if he botched that ending with that weird like 3-point.
That might be it. He might have thought he was supposed to kick out of the 4 drop kicks.
Yeah, because that was a real close 3.1. I thought he'd actually.
He was starting to kick out at like 2.
Yeah. I don't know about that one, brother. But fucking, then yes.
Match number 2: Rocky Tomeo.
Rocky Tomato, my favorite of all.
Versus
tomatoes.
Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah, Larry's a bit okay. All these names that I've heard dropped before, but never actually encountered.
So it was at this point I was like, oh, Larry hasn't turned heel on Bruno yet. Interesting, because they bring up on commentary how much Larry Zbyszko is just a good friend and mentee of Bruno Sammartino. And then I looked it up, and Larry doesn't turn heel on Bruno until 1980, which is way later than I thought that happened at.
What the fuck? Was Larry Zbyszko the winner of this match? Or he was the baby face.
Absolutely, he was.
Okay, for some reason
he was the good boy. He was the good boy buddy of Bruno.
Okay, I got you. The ref. We're still with the same ref, and he feels so low energy. Speaking of low energy, speaking of low energy, this match. I wrote Larry Zbyszko, big golf guy, apparently. As Vince hypes this up on commentary. I now need to see what like pro wrestling style golf looks like. Well, let me tell you something, dude. I'm gonna get that birdie, brother.
They work the par, like the shots under par.
Oh my god, yes. Like when the cameras aren't fucking Hulk.
They move the ball. They move the ball when the cameras aren't looking. They work it.
The heel distracts the referee and then just chucks the ball further. It's like, I don't know. Fucking Ultimate Warrior comes in and just breaks a putter over his knee because he's so coked out.
Yep. Okay. So. Zbyszko and Rocky Tomeo, who is kind of this like big burly dude. He's from Peru.
Yes.
That's all I really got for him. That's basically
it. This fight,
he gets jobbed the fuck out.
He gets jobbed the fuck.
Kicks his ass.
Zbyszko kicks his ass all the way back to San Francisco. But you know what element of this match wasn't low energy? Was this Joe Pesci ass motherfucker who's yelling just kept getting picked up by the camera.
I picked him up because at the beginning they're doing the fucking every bit where the heel just doesn't want to fucking engage, and this guy goes, "What are you gonna dance all night, you chump?"
Okay. Here's how I wrote it down. What are you gonna dance all night? Unintelligible, but probably a racial slur. Chump.
I didn't hear that. I just heard you chump.
Oh no, there was something unintelligible in between little and chump, and I guarantee you it was not very nice to Rocky Tomeo.
Probably not. Any
come on, you chump, fight. We do get just in the last match like 2 seconds of work rate at one point. I can't even remember what it was, but I was like, "Oh, this match is picking up steam." There.
Never mind. Put it.
Never mind. Joe Pesci screams that, "Hey, Rocky, I got something for you. Who is this guy? Why are we hearing him and only him?"
I don't know, but I loved it.
Oh my god!
This is where I want to bring up this note about this because this is when I kind of thought about.
Yes,
it, right?
Please.
It thought about this. Is it so? Larry spends the whole match. They're playing up Larry as a technical wizard, and so he spends most of the match absolutely dominating at holds.
Oh,
and the thing I thought of while watching this match is like they kind of just like stand there when they do holds and shit. Like they don't sell for being in holds the way they sell being in holds IRL.
That's
like,
what
not IRL,
is, like,
not dumbass, but like in modern times.
Yeah,
like he has Rocky Tomeo in this like arm bar, and he's got his arm gripped and like pulled out in front, and they're just like, it looks like they're just fucking standing there. Nobody's selling pain, or Zbyszko's not selling that he's like wrenching this arm here. He's making the arm hurt, and Rocky's not selling the pain of having my arm in a hold. It's like they're just standing there holding arms.
It's this veneer of like legitimate like sports boy effort of like they're just concentrated on executing the
and
move,
you don't show pain because
the other
to the
so like
opponent.
And again, for like 1977, when the audience probably wasn't as interested in seeing these dudes be vulnerable, that would be engaging because it's like, oh, it's so cerebral, look at them thinking through, but like it just looks stagnant at a point.
Yeah, this was the worst match for that. That's why I brought it.
They don't betray any of like what their thought processes could be, other than just vaguely, oh, I gotta find a way to get.
We're doing a hold.
Let's try to escape this way. Nope. All right, let's try. Like, thank you for this very deeply exciting bit of sports entertainment.
Yeah.
So but like fucking Zbyszko eventually gets the pin. He basically works all the limbs. Rocky every single
shot. Rocky gets some hits in, and then Larry gets a roll-up pin out of nowhere and wins on the slowest 3 count I've ever seen.
And no fight back from Rocky Tomeo. My man does not remotely attempt to
wriggle out of there. He's just like,
yeah,
it's like he is stun locked because he has been rolled up.
My fate.
He has been stun locked by the roll up pin.
Infinite roll up hacks.
Yep,
you gotta work all the limbs on Rocky Tomato, then put in the Konami code, and he won't ever fight back, and you can roll him up into perpetuity.
So Larry Larry wins. One day he will, in 20 years from now, he will be on commentary, desperately trying to get over the phrase "New World Order."
Oh yeah, he was on commentary.
He is the WCW commentator. He's like the New World Order.
Fuck, that's where he's popped up before.
Yeah,
I forgot. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, thank you, Larry, for your contributions. Okay, cool. So next match, moving right along. Nothing in
Tony Garea.
So yeah, some motherfucker named Tony Garea
versus the Animal Steel.
Hometown boy, Detroit native George the Animal Steel. Let's fucking go.
My first note was back when George the Animal Steel was a madman, not slow.
Yeah, I know. Literally, presumably, I had effectively the same note of like, this is presumably George before he was reduced to just being like a stupid comedy chump.
Yeah, now he is the animal because he's crazy. He's a madman.
He's just fucking nuts, man. He doesn't need to eat turnbuckle pads. He'll just eat your face.
I mean, there's a moment where he seems to be threatening that.
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah, because he's fucking insane. So George Steele, he arrives to the ring. He gets in the ring for a second, and then he kind of like tries to nope out.
He tries to be the aggressor before the match starts. Then they ring the bell. Tony throws one punch, and Steele leaves the ring.
Yeah, he just tries to nope out. He kind of walks partway through the crowd, and the crowd's all jeering him. Shout out to that one motherfucker in the crowd who like quickly like while he's in close proximity to Steele, just quickly like gets up his camera and snaps a picture and brings it back down.
Oh yeah, man.
My man thought he was slick, but he didn't realize.
So as George is getting back in the ring, is when I note that Vince is really fixated on the body hair. Like he is like, my God, this man, no hair on his head, but all that hair on his back, it's like fur.
Man, Vince is just word salading this entire fucking episode. And the captions don't always seem to know what Vince is saying sometimes. I had the captions on for this, Austin, and sometimes they were just very obviously wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever did this did not, there was no like, I would call this a first draft, but even I could fucking like tell when like the captions were wrong, because like sometimes the captions were just very obviously not what the word was saying. This is like YouTube auto-generated AI captions. That's probably
what it is. I don't think they tried that much harder for this shit.
Oh my God, these cheap asses wouldn't pay for good closed captioning. Why does that make so much sense?
For the 1977 wrestling shows? No fucking way.
Go fuck yourselves, dude. Oh my God.
So like Gurria has early, and I will say, I guess if we're trying to vaguely describe these to you people who probably have never seen any of these people wrestle before, you know, he felt like the most like a what you imagine like an all-American boy looks like when I say that phrase. Like that's like Tony Gurria. He doesn't look like a conventionally handsome guy.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway,
I can get on board with that. And George Steele is this big, lanky, thick, bald motherfucker who just is kind of like, just kind of wild, man.
He's very hairy. You cannot forget this part.
He's extremely hairy on everywhere except his face and head.
Yeah. So Gurria keeps like taking control of the match, and you know, Steele powders out to the crowd. And while he like stands in the aisleway, he like is making goes at people in the crowd, and you can watch audience members like run away.
I know they are
wild, man.
Out. Which is fair. It seems like he was legitimately good at that shtick. I remember in fucking Ringmaster, the author cites an anecdote of like young Stephanie McMahon backstage and like George Steele growling at her and her like running behind Vince.
It's so funny knowing that his day job is being like an English teacher.
An English teacher?
Yeah.
I know, dude. He fucking oh fuck. I forget who he helped train, but like I always forget this.
But it was somebody important. I remember that.
George Steele, fucking he's from Michigan. I don't know. Or was it that he was trained by shit, he died in 2017 at 79. He lived a full ass life.
He made it far. A lot farther than a lot of guys, a lot of old wrestlers do. But it helps that he was definitely not a man who abused steroids.
Yes, he didn't need to. Trained by Burt Ruby. I don't know. I feel like he had a hand in training someone, but I don't know who. Either way, great guy. We stand us some George Steele. So he eventually re-engages.
He gets back in the match, and Gurria has Steele in the corner, and Steele like punches Tony Gurria in the dick.
Yeah,
and
just a couple times. And then he's immediately like, he immediately goes to the ref and is like, I should win now, please and thank you.
Yeah, I win, right? No.
Yeah. And the ref says no, and George is incensed by this. He says,
now,
this match
interestingly,
I want all Dominion referees inspected for bias.
Now, interestingly, like we get this long sequence of like basically George Steele like trying to beat down Tony Garea in every corner of the ring.
Yes.
But every time the ref starts counting Garea down, kind of like you would in boxing, right? Like he's down, like you're like when he's down, when he had Garea down in the corner, the ref is like 1, 2, 3, 4, like, as if this was a box, as if this was like a boxing of like if you can't get up at the 10 count, you're done.
Man, this ref does not give this ref gives so little of a shit that he's forgetting what fucking sport he's even reffing for.
It's either that or WWF is trying really hard to act like this is real fighting. I don't really know.
This is real fighting. Look, we have boxing rules even, I guess.
At this point in modern wrestling, the only part of that rule that even remotely still exists is if like 2 guys are knocked down, the ref can start counting for a potential double like KO.
Double count out essentially, yeah. Vince says George now looks favored to win this match as he beats up on Tony, which, you know, of course, narratively dooms George to abject failure.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at this point I kind of had a realization of like, oh, wait, this is 1977. Take a shot every time a heel wins tonight. You'll probably be stone cold sober the entire time.
Essentially, especially with a caveat of a heel wins straight up.
Well, yes.
So anyway, basically the end of the match here is Steele gets Garea in like a bulldog headlock, you know, under his armpit. Garea just straight launches Steele into the corner and he hits his head on the turnbuckle.
And he flops.
This is like before corner moves were invented, I guess, because like if anytime a wrestler goes into the corner, that itself is like an attack. And you're a fuck to hell if you get not thrown into the corner.
Yeah, he flies into the corner and then fucking like flips around and stumbles down like the fucking ring ropes.
Yeah, but then Steele, like the crowd's going crazy, but Steele he like apparently pulls something out of his.
Yeah, I also missed him doing that. Yes, I also missed
but
that.
he doesn't. He punches Steele Garea straight in the throat.
Yes.
Disqualification.
See, to me, it looked like he socked him in the face, but then Garea grabs his throat. It's like, okay.
Tony Garea wins by DQ. Vince is out here being like, George Steele pulled something from his trunks. And I wrote, because that checks out for his character. Like,
yeah, obviously.
This feels like a character that would not like go to the trouble to have an illegal object in his trunks.
He just murders you with his bare hands.
Anyway.
It makes no sense. The fucking camera zooms in on George Steele's hand. Even the camera's out here going ref because it takes the ref a hot second to DQ George for this.
Yeah, so this is fun. This is kind of a funny bit here, considering like how this match ended, right? So George Steele's like, no, and then he keeps attacking Tony Garea with his hidden object. He like pushes the ref away. And Tony Garea knocks the object out of Steele's hands and starts kicking his ass. And then Steele gets on the mic and he's like, I want 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes.
As if Steele wasn't the one who cheated to win in the match. He's like, give me 5 more minutes, guy.
Yeah. And then it gets granted. And then he doesn't.
No, it doesn't. He just leaves.
No, I thought I heard the bell ring.
No, I think they're ringing the bell to get him to stop fighting. They do not count that as they don't give him 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. I thought it got granted, but yeah,
Steele gets out of the ring, gives Garea the up yours, and then leaves. Yeah.
Oh, so obscene. 1977, excuse you.
And then I wrote on replay, how does the ref miss the kick to the dick? Another thing George Steele does.
Because he doesn't care. This ref does not give a shit. Also, something I noticed as George walked back up the ramp, I think someone in the crowd pats him on the ass.
I missed that.
That is George Steele's ass right there. Some fans' lucky hand.
A Steele ass. Sure.
By that Steele ass, absolutely.
All right,
and then Vince makes sure to denote how if you fight George Steele, oh boy, you're gonna be sore in the morning.
Time for the next match of the show, the big hyped tag match: Nikolai Volkov and Ken Patera versus Andre the Giant and Chief Jay Strongbow.
Yes. Apparently Ken Patera has claimed, go ahead of this match, that during this match he is going to scoop up Andre and slam him.
I mean, he is the strongest man in the world.
Obviously, now I hate to ape a bit from Deadlock here, but to check the Observer notes from June 1977, I'm pretty sure upon hearing that Dave Meltzer just preemptively rated this match -5 stars.
He's I imagine let me give me what's a Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez-esque way to describe this situation.
I don't follow him nearly enough. You're the one who subscribed to WON, Austin.
That's true. I'm a dirty Meltzer subscriber.
Look at this fucking mark.
I pay $11.99 a month. For Meltzer.
Ooh. Everybody shame this man.
Absolutely shame me. Anyway, some notes I made is, first of all, Lou Albano. I was like, Lou Albano with the heels? Is that who that is? Like, yes. I didn't immediately recognize. I was like, is that Lou Albano?
Mostly because his hair is like not everywhere.
I wrote Lou Albano looks like a Target manager is what I wrote. Yeah. He's in like khakis and a red polo.
And a red fucking polo. This is not the Lou Albano I know and love. What have you?
Hell, they call him Captain. The announcer says Captain Louis Albano.
What?
Get the fuck out of here.
Who the fuck is Louis?
So Louis Albano is over here with the heels. He's just.
Can I call you Luber?
He's strutting around all over the place like a madman. Yeah. And then Andre and Jay Strongbow get in the ring. And I wrote, as a flex, Andre lifts Strongbow into the ring.
Yes.
With one arm.
Chief Strongbow. What?
Noted Italian man who is playing a Native American. Headdress and all.
Italians, Native Americans, same difference.
They are the same shade of brown.
Italians are natives of Italy, so it's basically the same thing. Fucking Chief Strongbow is an interesting character, as he gets lifted into the ring by Andre, and he immediately is like, I'm going to murder the fuck out of Lou Albano. Like, my man
straight for this dude. They are
noted baby
announcements, and he just runs straight for Albano, gets him in the ropes, and starts whooping his ass.
Unprovoked, noted babyface Chief Strongbow.
Lou Albano runs away after this and just goes back to the dressing room, never to return.
Yeah, well, he's a fucking coward, Austin. He didn't sit there and take his beatings from Chief Strongbow like a man.
Fair.
Yeah.
Also, Nikolai Volkov is not in his most well-known gimmick because they bill him from Mongolia.
Yeah, okay. I also found that weird.
And I was like, what the fuck? Where is my commie Volkov? Who is this guy?
Is not from Russia. What?
Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, why is he
black trunks and from Mongolia?
Mongolia? Like Genghis Khan and the Mongol hordes, Mongolia?
Except they don't play that into that.
Yeah, thank God. They don't have Volkov doing yellow face, I don't think, anyway. Unless
they don't got him wearing like the hat or nothing.
Yeah. Also, apparently this match is just casually 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah.
Which took me back enough. And then our other tag match later in the night was also 2 out of 3 falls. Was it just standard of the day for tag matches to be 2 falls?
I feel like it's not. Because they were like, this is a special stipulation, 2 out of 3 falls.
Okay. So why were both of them 2 falls? Yeah,
this is a big MSG match based show, baby.
Weren't they at MSG on a weekly basis?
More like a monthly basis.
Okay, fine. The precursor to the monthly pay-per-views. It's all coming together.
Basically, yeah.
Cool.
This is the equivalent of a pay-per-view WWF show in 1977.
Yeah.
You want to put that out there in the world.
By the by, we now have a normal ref in here, dressed in the stripy shirt and all, looks like a fucking ref, acts like he actually gives a shit. Andre, as the opposite of, Strongbow and Volkov, Andre does seem to actually get billed from where he's, from.
Yeah, he's from Grenoble in the French Alps.
That's a nice rarity. Before the match starts, just like George the Animal Steel before him, Ken Patera now is the one that decides fuck this and leaves. And Chief Strongbow also exits the ring, and I
thought he was like trying to chase him off or something.
It was too nonchalant though to be called Hot Pursuit, so I'm gonna call it Lukewarm Pursuit.
Yeah, Lukewarm Pursuit. And then Ken Patera comes back
after Ken Patera.
Ken Patera comes back. And Vince describes this as a separatist type movement
here with Patera. What does that mean, Vince? In that Patera is not discussing things with his tag partner Nikolai Volkov. Thank you.
Which
Vince.
Amazingly comes back. I didn't think it would. I didn't think that would come back around.
Nah, they're two heels. They can't can they coexist? No.
I wrote also that when Andre is getting announced, Vince is like 440 pounds. That's a lot of beef.
Thank you, Vince.
Which,
Thank you so much.
Funny enough, Andre's not even the biggest human being on this show.
Is he not?
No, we'll get to a guy later who's bigger than Andre is, at least in terms of weight.
Fuck. I don't know who that is. I didn't catch that.
Well, I'll make the note for you.
Oh, actually, no. I know who you're talking about now.
Surely there's only one other person it could be.
Well, pardon me if I found him rather blank and you miss it. But
we'll get to him.
We'll get to him.
Anyway, I just want to take this time to kind of point out is that we are in closer to peak Andre now. Yes. And I think you can tell this is not an Andre that needs to lean on the ropes because he can't. His back is not so fucked that he can't actually be a strong boy.
There's not a persistent, deeply depressing lethargy to everything he does.
Yeah.
Also, I something I didn't realize until again listening to fucking Ringmaster is how much Andre did not like his heel turn, and so that probably didn't help his energy in ring. So here, my man is at the top of his game. The crowd loves him. He's smiling. He was such wholesome content. I love him. I love Andre. I love Andre Rusumov with all my heart. Gone too soon, King. And Strongbow is he's being
the guy.
My man he's jumping, I'll have whatever Strongbow is having, man. I bet Strongbow's over here man, I'm a method wrestler. I smoked many things through a peace pipe before every single match. Give me some powerful hallucinations, brother.
I have done peyote.
I think my man legitimately has convinced himself that he is some great native warrior chief because he as fuck acts like he thinks he is.
Want to speak right now, and it is a thing I can't believe I was ever going to say.
Yes.
But thank you to Tonka, because your stupidity killed the fake Native American gimmick in wrestling forever. And I want to thank you for that.
Wait, what'd he do?
He just sucked.
Oh.
He sucked, and then no one ever played a fake Native American on TV wrestling ever again.
I was really hoping that Tatanka came out and said something just deeply racist, and that all of the activists got on his ass about it.
No, he just sucked.
Yes. This is one thing you can't say about Chief J Strongbow is he certainly doesn't lack for energy. Even if he looks deeply hopped up on many things.
So this is the first match where they really lean into this, but will not be the last. So these early part of this match, it goes Ken Patera gets in a full Nelson on Chief J Strongbow, and as he's fighting. And oh no, sorry, my bad. This is different. Chief J Strongbow puts Patera in a full Nelson. Patera gets out of it, and Patera's flexing and going, "Yeah, I'm so strong." Strongbow tags in Andre, and then Andre puts in a full Nelson.
Yes. I don't know if it was here. I swear to God, for a second I thought this was like tornado tag rules, because I swear to God there was a moment
There's some loose tags.
Yeah, Andre and Strongbow switch, and I did not see a tag at all. And I was like, oh, I guess we're doing tornado rules. But then like later on they switch back and they very visibly tag, and the ref is like, oh, tag. So
I saw it.
Loose even might be a bit of an understatement if we're describing.
Yeah, so basically this match is like Chieftain Strongbow does all right for himself, but the heels, whenever the heels are an advantage, it's because Chief J Strongbow is in the match. Whenever he tags in Andre, the heels get absolutely squashed. Whenever
because Andre is invincible and untouchable, and you can't do anything to him because he's too big. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for him to be hurt, brother. Also, our friend who the mic is constantly picking up is back. I feel like at this point, my man deserves more of a subtitle than just the generic crowd chatter subtitle. I feel like he deserves the dignity of having his insane ramblings written out for all of us to enjoy.
He does deserve it.
He does. He really does.
Andre gets in the heel corner, and so the heels, for the one time in the match, they're able to like take out be the advantage on Andre. They get him in 2-on-1.
Yeah,
Strongbow runs over to fight off Patera.
Yeah,
Patera, and then so Andre makes Volkov and Patera headbutt each other, and then Chief J Strongbow just grabs the steel chair and brains Ken Patera in the head on the outside.
What the fuck are these rules?
No fucking nothing. No problem. He's not the legal man. It's fine.
Dude,
he can do whatever he wants because he's not the legal man.
He's a face. It's okay. Don't worry about it, guys. Fucking okay. There is one spot here that I want to point out because it was kind of fucking wild. Yeah, Strongbow has Volkov in a hold and has him there for like a long ass time. And then after keeping Volkov in that hold, Strongbow hits Volkov in the head once. Or no. Wait, has Volkov in a hold forever, and then no, Volkov finally shakes Strongbow off by hitting him in the head. So Volkov gets it there. Strongbow gets hit in the head once. Jesus Christ, this episode has melted my brain. Gets hit in the head once, releases the hold, bounces off the ropes, slides between Volkov's legs, and tags Andre back in. And it was actually kind of a cool little bit. I thought that was kind of sick. And then at one point Patera has Strongbow in a choker hold, and then Volkov just comes in to stomp on Strongbow.
We'll get to the full that sequence of events in a second.
Oh, okay.
I wrote a lot of notes on that sequence.
Oh, okay, please.
But first of all, is Volkov gets in the match and Andre starts doing limb work. He does like an elbow drop to Volkov's legs. I was like, I would be terrified to take an elbow drop to the knee from a guy Andre's side.
To take an anything drop to the anywhere from a guy Andre's sides.
But they're working the leg on this guy. And Volkov gets Strongbow in a bear hug. And I was like, holy shit. And then Daniel Bryan would be loving this. Bear hug. But then he fights it out, and I think that's the moment you were thinking of when he like slides out and like gets it to tag into Andre, and then Andre puts Volkov in a bear hug himself.
Yes,
and
like,
Volkov
dies for a hot second.
Yeah, so we later in the match, then Patera gets in a headlock on Chief J Strongbow, and like Andre is desperately trying to make the tag. Andre is literally almost falling over the ropes trying to make.
Dude, Andre, so 1977 ring ropes are much less sturdy than 2020.
They are very loosey-goosey.
But Andre especially, he looks like he's just like bending down string when he leans against them. Is no resistance whatsoever.
And so Andre makes the tag, but the ref missed it And Volkov runs in to attack Andre, and Andre has to go back to the ring. And we're back to fucking headlock.
And Volkov fucking comes in and stomps on Strongbow in full view of the ref, and just nothing happens. So good to know that, even in 1977, tag team rules were practically non-existent. Tradition, that's some of the real tenets of the sport.
Andre tags in. He hits a huge atomic drop to Ken Patera's testicles. As you do with an atomic drop.
You'll love to see it.
And then Andre,
bring back the atomic drop.
Andre, he gets Patera in the corner and he does his butt squash thing where he just backs into people in the corner. And then he gets Volkov in the same corner. So it's both dudes in the corner. Andre's holding him there. And Chief J Strongbow does a jumping splash over, he lands on top of Andre and splashes into the two guys. In the corner.
The illegal man in this fight, again, totally.
We are just having fun here.
We're just having a grand old time.
But anyway, Strongbow gets Nikolai Volkov in a sleeper hold. Patera runs in with a high knee to the back. And this is where they ring the goddamn bell for it.
It's the lightest fucking knee, by the way. Patera lightly knees Andre in the back with this and just gets him to stumble the fuck down into the corner. Okay, dude. Vince describes this as trouble in River City. And thinking about it, it's not a shock to me that Vince McMahon is a fan of, the Music Man. Vince is over here being like, no, I think it's so wholesome how that nice man lied to the entire city for his own enrichment. Shame he had to be tied down to that mousy little moralistic librarian at the end.
You got trouble, my friend. You got a knee, my friends. Knee is it rhymes with P. It stands for pool.
It's for WWE. I don't fucking know. So the match is
incredible.
It counts as a fall, though. So thank you, ref, for finally enforcing some semblance of the rules.
I want to know why this was your moment. Why this was the straw that broke your back.
Fuck. What? Oh, when I was messaging you?
No, I'm talking about the ref. Why was this the moment?
The ref.
Why was this the moment you're calling the DQ, huh?
It's so fucking arbitrary. Tag rules exist when you feel like they exist.
Yeah. Okay.
Schrodinger's tag rules.
Andre and Strongbow fight the heels, knock the heels out of the ring. The heels are retreating. Patera and Volkov start shoving and arguing with each other on the outside. Ooh, friction.
Fucking and then so we cut away for a second and then come back with order restored to our second fall of the match. So round 2 begins and it lasts all of fucking 2 minutes. We get a little bit more decent action in the ring, but we get the dumbest fucking malfunction at the junction possible where Volkov is
running at Strongbow. Strongbow does the drop down, and Volkov just keeps running and shoulder tackles Patera off the apron.
Ken Patera, having seen this whole thing play out, and it's not like they're moving super fast because 19
he just stays in the line of sight.
More than that, he steps into the fucking ring. He just casually is like, "Oh, I guess it's my turn now," and then he gets fucking bodied by Volkov, you dipshit. And then of course Patera won't stand for this, so the heel tag team just completely dissolves. Andre and Strongbow take advantage, and Andre gets the big splash for the dub. Lol, fuck you. That's our super special guys. That's our super special 2 out of 3 falls match, folks.
Now match number 5. Lenny Hurst.
So one more thing I want to point out. Patera dejectedly walks back up the ramp. Vince says there's Patera going back to the dressing room. He apparently gave up on Volkov. Yeah, he also apparently fucking gave up on his vow to slam Andre. What the fuck happened to that? He didn't even make an attempt, but okay.
Didn't even try, pal.
Didn't even. Oh man. All right.
So next match number 5. Lenny Hurst versus Stan Stasiak.
Oh boy. Okay. I
Okay.
found it. So I finished watching this episode, dear viewer, before Austin did. And Austin told me as he was because we will sometimes like tweet or message each other while we're watching stuff. And Austin told me how he how he was actually getting invested in
More
Lenny
so than I expected. I mean,
yeah, well,
not necessarily a lot, but more than I
yeah,
expected.
well, the fucking you didn't have much to get invested in considering how squash of a match this was.
Right. So first, Stan the Man Stasiak, great name.
Yes. And Lenny Hurst, who is apparently from Jamaica.
Yeah, and it's his MSG debut.
I looked him up. He also gets billed from being from London/South London, so I'm gonna take a wild guess that he probably is not actually Jamaican. I think he has a little bit of Kofi Kingston disease going on.
Oof. I wrote Stasiak looks like someone's alcoholic father. He does.
I mean, folks, where's the
lie?
It's not wrong. This is
like this fifth ever WWWF champion.
Yeah, fucking your alcoholic father who just sees a black guy on the street and is like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, this country's going to hell.
Yeah, okay. This match matters so little that Vince is still at the beginning of the match fucking speculating on more like of the Patera Volkov dynamic backstage.
I took umbrage with the fact that we are so committed to heels refusing to be an initiator in this match that Stan Stasiak is a former world champion and yet he is refusing to wrestle a guy who is basically a rookie.
Well,
that's
dude, the rules, Austin.
Kick his ass.
But what if the rest could get kicked? What if the rookie's good? What if the rookie kicks his ass? He's got to preserve his image, dude.
That is kind of what happens in the early going here. Like, Lenny was able to kind of hold his own on this guy, on the former world champ.
Yeah, Lenny's like, for this jobber ass motherfucker, he puts up a fight. Vince even has to comment on Hurst with a good looking pair of legs. Please keep in your pants, Vinny.
Please calm down over there.
We know he's doing this announcing with only one hand. It's fine. We get a moment where like Stasiak gets knocked down and like the ref comes to check on him and he basically tells the ref to like back the fuck off and he's
Lenny has Stan by his ankle, which only the ankle, by the way. He's holding one ankle and Stan is like pounding the mat. You're like Anyway, so Stan lays down at one point, and so the ref starts counting him down like 1, 2. And he kicks out and he's like, hey, now.
And then we fucking cut back to just a random ass freeze frame.
It's not a replay of it. It's a still image.
It's a still image of Stasiak just wagging his finger in the ref's face. Thank you. Also, the fucking captions, man. This auto-generated ass doubling over Lenny Hurts. At one point it says Lenny Hurts, not Hurst. You idiots. But Lenny's power moves don't last for long because literally, like within 2 minutes, jobber squash.
Yeah, Stasiak takes over. Vince is out here being like, I think Stan is closing his fists for these punches. Stan goes for his signature maneuver, the heart punch. This is what passes for a finishing move in 1977, is just punching a guy in the chest.
I mean, come on, Austin. Wouldn't that finish you off? There's no need
for creativity. Oh, it totally would, but it's not very visually interesting. Just watch him just punch the guy in the chest and be like, bam. All right, you're done, pal.
Man, someday we got to have a whole discussion on power creep in the anime that is pro wrestling.
Yeah, so Lenny Hurst gets Stan laying down in a head scissors and starts humping the air. Maybe notice this.
I think you have that the other way around. Stan gets Lenny.
No, it's Lenny that gets Stan in the head scissors.
Oh, okay.
But then Santa gets up and he offers the hand to Lenny to do a test of strength. And despite using only one hand, Lenny can't break his hand from Stan's. And Lenny has to do a drop kick to knock Stan out of the ring to make him let go. Like, total jabroni move here, pal.
Man, he tried. He did not have the strength, unfortunately.
Yeah, so the finish of this match is Lenny drop kicks Stan. Stan gets stuck in the ropes. He starts beating on Stan Stasiak. Stasiak gets his boot up into Lenny's face. He gets up out of the ropes, and then his heart punch is he like grabs the arm and puts one arm behind this dude's head, and then he just punches him square in the chest, and that's it. 8 minutes and 21 seconds, asshole.
You fucking knocked the chakras out of alignment. Obviously, that's some like judo shit right there. He did some jutsus beforehand, and then
he did the ancient one shit, and like
it all
Lenny
ripples,
soul out of his body.
Lenny Hurst's chest ripples, the fucking soul astral projects for a second, and yes, one heel victory on this 2.25 hour wrestling show.
Yeah, I guess the babyface can't really go over on this one here.
Exactly one shot for the evening,
and then out comes after this. Out comes
I guess two.
Billy Graham with the Grand Wizard.
Yeah. I'm glad you gave me some context, because when I first heard that, I was like,
I want to hear your notes about it before I give context to the Grand Wizard.
So my note is they mentioned, so they're in the habit of just introducing all the managers on mic at the beginning of matches. So we get fucking Bruno's manager announced first, Arnold Scotland, the golden boy of wrestling, I guess. And then all I have is Billy. So I have Arnold Scotland equals Bruno's manager. And then next I have Billy's manager equals the Grand Wizard of Wrestling with about a bajillion question marks. I was just like, did they know? Did they have an idea?
They did. All right. So let's give a little history lesson here. Ernie Roth got his professional professional wrestling career. He's always been a manager, actually. He originally was a disc jockey, and he got brought into the wrestling business as a manager in Detroit-based territories, actually. He's a Detroit guy.
Hometown boy.
So he became the heel manager originally of the original Sheik, who was very much a big player in the Detroit area.
Not of the iron variety.
No, the Sheik.
The Sheik.
And he went as Abdullah Farouk. That is why he wears a turban, by the way.
I was wondering about that, and I was wondering
Abdullah,
if he was actually the white guy this whole time.
Yeah. So the way Wikipedia says it, he basically helped pioneer the concept of like a manager that directly interferes in matches.
Really?
For heel shenanigans.
Oh, well, that's fascinating.
Not that he does that for this show. But he comes into the WWE, in the WWWF, and he becomes known as the Grand Wizard. And the thing is that Roth is Jewish, and so he took the name the Grand Wizard as a snub to the Ku Klux Klan, who also their leaders are, of course, the Grand Wizards.
Yes. Okay. Well,
and so he would manage a great many number of heels throughout his time in the WWF, and his current protege is superstar Billy Graham. And he basically is this little small dude with these flamboyant jackets, and he's got the big sunglasses, and then a turban, and a big colorful turban.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was meant to be like a crumpled like KKK hood. I wasn't sure, but like
no, it's a carryover from when he was Abdullah Farouk.
None of that makes sense on like, you know, a normal person logical standpoint, but it makes sense as like a sequence
in a wrestling way that checks out completely.
Yes. But yes, the man whom we are here to see, Billy Graham, superstar. Walk's gonna Yeah. It took me a second to come up with that one. I was very proud of that.
Hey, so when Billy Graham comes out with the Grand Wizard, Vince is out here trying to get an interview. The only one of these on the show. The crowd fucking hates this guy.
Deep
anyway, Vince calls him a controversial world champion due to the way he beat Bruno, even though they don't really explain deeper as to what he may or may not have done to beat Bruno. But anyway,
you treat every show as somebody's 50th wrestling show.
Of course. So Vince is out there like there's 27,000 in the stands tonight. And Billy's like, oh yes, 27,000 in the stands and thousands more out on the streets who couldn't get in the building. And he is just talking himself up. He goes, I did write this quote because this is like one of his more famous quotes. So I was like, I got to get the full bit here. I am the champion. I am the greatest. I am the strongest. I got the proof, baby. And he holds up the belt. I'm the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour.
Yeah, he's no CM Punk. For what we're used to in the year of our Lord 2023, as heel promos go, pretty generic, but like he was spitting, he was still spitting a little bit, and like considering the work rate that gets people going in 1977, I feel like if you talked with any kind of actual energy, that was enough to get people like frothing at the mouth. So
Oh yeah.
But then he shows off. Sorry, go ahead.
Before we go, I would say there was one. I will say that like one other quote that like if I could try to get this, I'm trying to see if I can write it back. I should have written it down, but there was like one famous quote of his that I was like, I want to, if I can find where he says this promo out loud. Is okay. There's actually a couple. He's another big quote of his. I am the woman's pet, the men's regret. What you see is what you get, and what you don't see is better yet.
That's not bad. That's actually not bad.
But where's the one that I am really? God damn it! All right. Let's see. Oh, I know how to get the quote I'm looking for. Okay. Here he goes. I'm Superstar Billy Graham. I lift barbell plates. I eat T-bone steaks. I'm sweeter than a German chocolate cake.
Thank you, Billy. But also, that feels like a pretty good encapsulation of his character. And honestly, goals. I also want to, beat T-bone steaks and eat chocolate cakes? Is that it?
No, he eats T-bone steaks and he's sweeter than German chocolate. And he's
sweeter than chocolate cake. You know what? That sounds like a pretty sweet deal. I can't lie.
Yeah.
But yeah,
then he takes off the shirt and just starts flexing.
Arms.
It's the body of a champion. This is the space of a champion. This is the beauty of a champion. This is the brain of a champion.
Man,
I'm the greatest.
This is like Dusty Rhodes' blueprint all the fucking way.
Yep. Especially he's got a very similar high pitch. Like the difference between my Billy Graham voice and my Dusty Rhodes voice, daddy, is I got more of a lisp when I'm talking like Dusty.
There are a few voices in wrestling that make me happier than that of Dusty Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
The dream, daddy.
Yeah, that's basically the difference between doing a Billy Graham impression and a Dusty Rhodes impression is the lisp.
And I feel like Dusty is a bit more like general chill about him.
Mm-hmm.
The dream, daddy. Fucking. Oh man. Anyway, so this is declared as the main event, but we still have an hour left in this godforsaken episode. And
thankfully they didn't just wrestle for an hour.
An Iron Man match. Yeah, imagine that. So Billy Graham, so they're gearing up to actually start the match. Billy Graham pushes Arnold Scotland, and Vince calls this psychological tactics at its best.
Not at its best, I'm afraid.
Ha. No. Bruno starts off the bout putting in the fucking work, though. I will say
he is here to fucking kill Billy Graham. Billy beat him for the belt 2 months ago. He is fucking pissed.
He's not mad.
The crowd is here for Bruno Sammartino beating this dude's ass,
murderizing the fuck out of Billy Graham.
Yeah, and
Billy Graham, he just kind of takes to the tactic of just vibing out at the edge of the ring, halfway between the ropes. What the fuck was that all about?
Well, if he's not he's in the ropes, Bruno, he can't pin him. He can't beat him in there.
Oh my god! So we're just getting weasel tactics.
Yeah, weasel tactics from the dude who's built like Arnold.
Like a fucking built like a fucking tank. Okay. He's gonna heal,
I guess.
States. Yeah, heel's gonna heal. Even if it makes
no
fucking sense.
Then I wrote, with a moment's reprieve, Billy Graham's able to get Bruno in a full Nelson, and I
not the full Nelson.
All right, so here's where I think I had this realization in the next match, but I'm going to bring this up right now. Is I mentioned earlier that I had thoughts about why I don't like these matches the way, like something about like the move, like the spot monkey move stuff that I don't like about it. Is because I can watch modern matches that are aren't as, high fly flip-de-doo work rate, right? And what's my problem on this show? And I think I realized one of my problems. Everybody does the same fucking moves.
Yes.
Everybody does the same moves, and with the exception of a few people, everyone basically has the same level of character.
No one has a unique feeling moveset, and no one's moving fast enough to distract you from that fact. And
no one has a unique presence or moveset. So it just feels like I'm watching
dudes.
I feel like I'm watching 9 straight versions of the same match.
Pretty much, yeah. The thing is too, half the time they're all doing the same moves to each other, one person will try a full Nelson, the other try.
They do this. Yeah. This is a big thing of this match. Is Billy Graham gets in a submission move, Bruno breaks out, and then Bruno does the exact same move.
Yeah, Vince was talking on commentary, I think, about how big the full Nelson was as a move for Billy Graham, almost a signature move of his. So glad to see that Billy Graham just had a hand inspiring just some of all of the worst excesses of the wrestling industry. Everything that is Hulk Hogan, the full Nelson, hell of a legacy to leave behind. Vince also prompts the audience to remember that San Martino's neck was broken not too many years ago. Actually, not too many months ago. Which is it, Vince? Which is it?
Because one of those is more likely to still be a problem.
Yes. He's kind of like, Bruno's neck was broken a few years ago. Sorry, I meant months ago. Thank you.
I wrote so many notes on this match, and I honestly now don't even want to go through them.
I know.
Maybe it's just from having gone through 5 of these matches before, but I'm like,
exhausting.
We've
talked about so much, and yet we've talked
more of the same shit. It's my problem.
Yeah, San Martino locks in his own Nelson, and Graham can't break it. I guess rope breaks are a thing in 1977 because Billy Graham finally breaks.
That is a huge element of the match. Is Billy always gets a rope break, and that's how he gets out when Bruno puts him in moves.
I definitely understand that now. Man, it got repetitive. But also, I guess, cool to know that in 1977, rope breaks were a thing because I just kind of assumed they weren't for some reason.
Mm-hmm. So it goes, and it goes from moves. It's all about the full Nelson, then it's all about an arm, a wrist lock, and then it's all about a headlock, then it's all about bear hugs.
The holds.
You can just take everything we've said about the various matches of the last hour, and it's like that. And
more of the same, just with 2 bigger names.
It's just 2 bigger names, and it feels like it's a bigger match, but technically speaking, it's more of the same match. So I don't even feel like going through all these goddamn notes.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man.
So let's just go ahead and skip to the end, where basically Bruno and Billy just keep punching each other, and the ref is like, okay, we got to break this up and have some decorum here. And Billy keeps knocking the fucking ref down.
Yes. He knocks over the ref 3 times, dear listener. 3 fucking times. And
Absolutely.
it's only after the third knockdown that the ref decides to call this DQ. So just to recap, this fucking main event starts off with like crazy, unhinged, but ultimately basic promo from Billy Graham. A lot of flexing. Bruno trying to have a legitimate athletic match. Billy Graham slowing the pace to a fucking crawl. And then it's, can I take your order? Yeah, I'll have a submission hold. How original. And with a reversal. Daring today, aren't we? That's number 2 for you kids. I got to find a way to keep the so we have a bunch of that. Little bit of hugging, little bit more like stumbling the fuck around. But fucking Bruno like has Billy. I do want to point this out. Bruno's got Billy Graham in a hold at one point. Billy Graham stumbles them toward the ropes, and Sammartino just kind of like clumsily trips through the ropes like a fucking chump. Dumbest way to let go of that fucking hold. But then 1, 2, 3 knockovers of the ref, DQ ending for our supposed main event.
It is a double DQ.
Yeah, it's not even fucking Bruno's fault. Billy's at fault for all 3, but I guess Bruno Sammartino was in the vicinity of the ref.
Bruno was kicking too much ass. That he was not getting away.
Oh my God.
He was refusing to let up too, so that was the justification.
Yeah, so we don't even get a proper heel win here. They both lose. Fucking dipshit, dumb.
18 minutes and 39 seconds
and it was
to end in a double DQ.
It was pointless. Nothing was accomplished.
Very funny moment though after the match where Billy is out of the ring. Bruno is still trying to take swings at him, and so he's trying to reach over through the ropes to get at Billy Graham, and he knocked over the ref. So the ref is just laying under Bruno while Bruno is trying to attack Billy Graham on the outside.
Sorry, complete tangent. I feel like my YouTube notifications are even being inspired by the era that we're in. I just got a fucking for some unholy reason, I've never unsubscribed from WatchMojo.com, even though I've not watched one of their videos in forever. I just got a notification of a new episode from them. WatchMojo.com. 10 most evil Mexicans in history. Vince Sr. is somewhere in some kind of afterlife smiling.
Right.
Ethnic pandering, folks. We love to see it.
Any fucking way.
Speaking of ethnic pandering.
Holy fuck. Anyway. Okay, first I wrote Baron Von Raschke and Freddie Blassie. Nice.
Yes! Freddie Blassie.
I dare to be excited because I was like, Baron Von Raschke. Heard about this guy all the time.
Yeah.
Watch the match.
AEW once to fucking claw some motherfucker.
So I was like, let's go. And he's taken on the Polish power, Ivan Putski.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this is World War II, motherfuckers. Because if you can't guess, Baron Von Raschke is a Nazi.
Nazi coded.
He goose steps in the ring and then throws up his hand into the claw.
Got a fucking like iron cross design on his cape. So yeah, I guess we're just out here creating the fucking march through the Rhineland, but in the squared circle.
Don't worry, guys. Baron Von Raschke is not German. He is from Nebraska. He is just cosplaying as a Nazi for his wrestling gimmick.
Nebraska, the Germany of the States. That's what we're always saying here in America.
It's like how Fritz von Erich is a Christian Texas man who also decided the reason his name is Fritz von Erich is because he also cosplayed as a Nazi character.
I mean, he was a piece of shit anyway, so at least that was fitting. Fucking yeah, okay. So we're this is our 7th contest of the evening. I thought for because they did bill the last match as the main event, so I thought, okay, they've tacked on a 2nd episode of MSG. No, this is
all the same show. That last match was probably like they probably had an intermission. after the title match.
Yes.
And...
when I say main event, I mean the end of Act 1.
Right. That's how you say it.
Yeah, obviously. We're also back to a ref who's dressed like a fucking mechanic, except this one has a lot more energy than the last guy who did not dress like a ref. So that was nice.
So I don't know why I even remotely got my hopes up for this match. I don't know what I was doing.
That was your first mistake, kiddo.
This match is, of course, more of the same.
More of the same shit. So much so that almost fucking immediately, Rashke tries to ape George Steele's hidden weapon bit. What?
Except weirdly.
Yeah.
Okay.
He fails fucking miserably.
He both fails and doesn't fail. Because first, he pulls the fucking thing out nearly immediately. And then he starts like fiddling around with it in his pants. And Ivan Putski is reasonably like, this seems sus to me. Ref, go check him for hidden objects. And so the first time this happens, Rashke keeps it hidden in his hand, and the ref can't find it. Can't find it in his trunks. The second time, Putski's like, seriously, go check him for this shit. Rashke casually tosses the item in a corner and doesn't get caught with it. I thought this would be a Chekhov's gun, except the gun never goes off.
Oh no, I knew as soon as he threw it away. I'm like, well, this isn't coming back, is it? No, fucking
it was gonna come back.
No, of course not, Austin. He just failed at it. Because why would anything on this show have a fucking point to it? I'll give them a little bit more credit in that Ivan Putski is a lot more of I'm a punch you guy as a wrestler than a lot of the other dudes we've seen so far. But otherwise, it is a little bit.
It is a whole lot of the same of like, get him in a hold, work the hold.
The footage is clearly starting to deteriorate on whatever they.
There's one time they have a cut.
It just cuts to like probably a couple minutes later within the match, just out of nowhere. It's just weird. There's a point where Rashke has Putski's leg, like they're both standing. Rashke's like holding on to Putski's lifted leg. Putski like holds out his fist and like caresses Rashke's face, and Vince comments on how Putski kisses that fist. That's one way to.
He's really big into that idea. He's like let's kiss his fist before he punches a guy.
He also looks like he's about to kiss Rashke, which would certainly be another way to break the hold.
What a progressive moment in '77 that would have been.
So tenderly caressing that face, Austin. Did you not see? I was rooting for a kiss there.
Okay.
Our front row camera mic guy is officially gone feral as I just hear Joe Pesci incoherently screeching amongst the camera.
Okay, so an interesting thing that I've never seen before that I will bring up is so Putski's got Baron von Rashke in a head scissors, and so Rashke tries to like roll himself over, and he rolls himself over, right, and so he's in this position of like his head is basically in Putski's thighs. And he is bent over, right? So a super common way you see wrestlers try to break out of this is like handstand, like do like a handstand cartwheel their way out of it, right? So Rashke goes to do that, and Putski just pushes him back down.
It's more than a push. He fucking spanks him on the ass.
He's like, get the fuck down.
Yeah, smacks Rashke's ass, and Rashke's like, okay, and goes back down.
All right, I guess that didn't work.
For more death by snoo.
Okay, anyway.
Fucking Rashke's over here suffocating between Ivan Putski's legs for like 10 fucking minutes or something.
Yeah, and then they get back up.
He's got a little bit of drop on the deck and flop like a fish going.
There you go. Number 3. I respect that, like, in between holds, they just punch the shit out of each other. Help keep things a little more moving. But I also
feel like he could have gone for a rope break at any time. He's a long, lanky boy.
He is a big. Baron von Rashke is very tall.
He's very tall. He could have reached those ropes. That's such dumb bullshit that he did.
Yeah.
At one point, he just lets out as he's dying in between Ivan's legs.
I was very happy though is that I was like, what if he doesn't do the claw? Because I was like, this is all I'm really here for with Raschke is to see him do the stupid claw. But he did it. He does the brain claw, which is it's like the regular squeezy squeeze claw, but your head. Which ironically, Putski kind of proves how stupid this move is because he literally powers out of it relatively easily.
Yeah, he fucking survives it as Vince can't help but comment on how Ivan Putski's massive thighs are rippling.
Yeah.
Vince.
I about lost
handstand spank spot 2 electric boogaloo happens.
Yeah,
and it fails again.
At one point, Baron von Raschke hits like a sunset flip pin move, and I think my brain broke a little bit seeing that in 1977 after everything else here today.
I didn't even catch that, but
it was very quick and you missed move. I was like, what the fuck?
It was such a, my brain was melted so hard by this point.
Putski has Baron in the ropes and he hits the Polish hammer, which is a double axe handle, boom, to the chest. But they're just fighting. And
Raschke, when he finally does escape Ivan Putski's death by Snoo Snoo, he tries to get like a fucking roll-up pin on Putski, but he does it while holding the trunks, and the ref
won't count it.
Immediately catches this and doesn't count it. Baron von Raschke is very bad at cheating.
He comes off like Baron von Raschke comes off like such a dweeb in this match.
Yes. It's oh my god. I know he comes off so fucking hapless, dude. Ivan Putski's just whipping his fucking ass.
And then how does this match end, you might ask? Well, Putski punches Baron von Raschke so hard he falls over the ropes and they start ringing the bell. And I asked myself,
I'm like, what the fuck? What are they?
And I was like,
what
is this a? I was like, does WWWF do over the top rope DQ rules?
Yeah, that's what I thought at first. I was like, is this Battle Royal rules here?
But then,
oh no, folks.
It's a 30-minute time limit draw.
Time limit. Ah! Fuck yeah.
I want to point out I'm keeping track of the timer at this point, and I note to David even that there is like 10 minutes left on this whole show.
Now again,
and I knew there were two more matches.
We had a film deterioration skip, so I don't even know if this is properly 30 minutes or not. It probably wasn't. But either way, so that's DQ number 3 of the night. If you're keeping track
just
at
a
home,
draw.
folks. Either way, it's a dumb non-pin win. Or not at all. It's a non-ending. It's like our third of the night. So we had the fucking DQ in the Falls Count Anywhere. We had the fucking double DQ in the last match, and now we have the fucking time limit draw here. And it's
not even the stupidest finish.
It's not even the stupidest finish of the night.
Okay, and then Ivan
tries to advocate for 5 more minutes, even 1 more minute. No, please release me.
Right.
Please, mercy. I can't handle any more of this.
And then Raschke leaves. He's like, nah, man, I'm done.
They start fighting for like 30 more seconds, and then Raschke just fucks off. Bruh. Oh my god.
Match
worthless.
Number
pointless.
8.
Nothing was accomplished. Please put me out of my misery.
Yeah, match number 8. We are so close to the end. David is Baron, another Baron.
In another case.
Cicluna.
Yeah, which the subtitles the subtitles keep insisting is actually Baron Sicilian. That's not even close to what he said.
Now he is Sicilian. He is from the island of Malta.
Yeah.
So
he's legitimately Maltese and gets billed that way. So, points for your rare bit of ethnic accuracy.
And then he's taking on the High Chief, Peter Maivia.
Peter Maivia?
The grandfather of The Rock.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson's grandfather making his MSG debut. The audience fucking hates Baron Cicluna because I guess we have some kind of beef with Malta in 1977 or something.
I feel like he's also vaguely Nazi. but I don't.
Yeah, he's
not
got
as,
another
not as
fucking like iron cross on a cape. So
yeah,
like,
not the
probably,
same as obviously Von Raschke, but like he feels vaguely like a Nazi.
I guess. Fucking Peter Maivia, since he's just a simple tribesman who doesn't know any better, he tries to ready his spear to use.
And the rest like, dude, put the fucking spear away.
No.
And then he takes his sweet ass time taking his shit off, his gear off.
He's got a whole thing.
Like he takes off the headdress and he's got the chieftain dress on under his wrestling tights. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, we got 10 minutes left on the show. Hurry the fuck up.
Mercy.
And then, okay. And I wrote, Vince thinks the audience has never seen a lower back tattoo before.
It's like, that's not war paint. Thank you, Vince.
He's like, that's not war paint. That's a tattoo unlike any you people have ever seen. And it's just like, I don't know if he meant if it's because it's tribal tats. That might be what he meant by that.
Tribal tats.
But it's funnier to think if Vince just thinks no one's ever heard of a lower back tattoo. What the
tattoo is.
Yeah, of course. So Mikhail gets off to a hot, aggressive start, and then Maivia hulks up or whatever, and they start punching each other a little bit, and then Mikhail tries to attack Maivia in the corner. Maivia ducks. Mikhail hits the turnbuckle, falls over. Peter Maivia rolls him up and wins. 2 minutes, 9 seconds.
Fucking 2 minutes squash of Peter's. I was fully expecting poor Maivia to be jobbed out. No, my man is made to look powerful as fuck in his MSG debut. Holy shit.
Vince suggests this might be an MSG debut record.
That it very well could be, honestly. Or they could be fudging the numbers, who knows. Fucking, yeah, and not only does Maivia squash Cicluna, he immediately fucking hits the goddamn Ari Daivari pose on the fucking ropes where he, like, he, like, gets up to the top rope and, like, lays across it at the corner, just vibing. The fucking sheer swagger on this man. You love to see it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Man, and the worst part is, I was actually kind of into this one. My filthy little work rate brain was like, yes, they're actually moving at like pace. And then
2 minutes.
And then in 2 minutes, done. Fuck off.
Whatever. And cool.
Whatever. I did make note of at one point, like for the like 10 seconds where Cicluna actually had a decent like upper hand on Peter Maivia. Vince says the barefoot Samoan is not doing too well for himself at the moment. Vince too says, I like a closed toe.
You do.
I like a closed toe. Yeah. So that's done. Mr. Fuji's here. Woo!
All right, the final match. And I cannot emphasize this enough. I'll put it in a second. But first of all, this is a tag team match. 2 out of 3 falls. Mr. Fuji and Professor Toru Tanaka versus Dominic DeNucci. Dominic DeNucci and Haystacks Calhoun. Haystacks Calhoun, the redneck country boy from Arkansas, who is 601 pounds.
Yeah, he do be a big boy. He do be a very big boy.
He's famous for how fucking large he is.
I can see it. He's in like, he don't even got proper gear. He's in fucking overalls, man. Giant ass overalls.
Yep. So I was like, what the fuck? Haystacks Calhoun is here. So I wrote, we're going to do a 2 out of 3 falls match in like 6 minutes. Or
2 out of 3 falls or to the curfew.
And then I was like, oh
no.
I see where this is going.
I had a little more optimism than you did, which was, my mistake.
I was hoping that it would end it wouldn't end at the curfew, but I was like, there's gonna quick move these guys, right? Anyway, so Toru wastes a bunch of fucking time throwing salt in every corner of the ring. And then,
is that what that was?
Yeah, he's throwing ceremonial salt.
Yes, the superstitious Japanese. Look at them.
The professor doing work.
Yeah, well, except I guess they're the faces ? Except
no way.
when they get
Danucci and Haystack are the baby faces.
Well, you would think so, but they spend the entire fucking match acting like heels.
Do they? Danucci doesn't even
like
tag in Haystacks.
Yeah, fucking Haystacks, like, there's a fucking point where, like,
oh yeah, because Danucci gets Toru in a full Nelson, fucking full Nelsons, and he drags Toru over the rope so Haystack can cheap shot him.
Well, Haystacks fucking somehow pulls off distracting the ref by pointing to the other side of the ring, like, oh, look over there.
Hey, look over there.
The ref does, and so he fucking bops him on the head. So I'm like,
like I told you before, is I think, there's it's a questionable morality from baby faces.
And when fucking Fuji and Tanaka get introduced, the caption says crowd cheering. Now the crowd's cheering sounds like so like X, but I thought they were the faces here.
I thought they were the heels.
Okay.
So Fuji hits the kamikaze necktie, which is just a jumping clothesline, but Vince stumbles over himself to say that's what this move is called.
Yeah.
For the pin, 1-0, 3 minutes 6 seconds for the first fall. Danucci gets up and Fuji hits a back body drop, and then they honestly just keep trying to fight each other. And then funniest bit in this whole match is that, they do the bit where Toru Tanaka and Fuji have Danucci in their corner. And Haystacks tries to run in, interfere, and the ref, obviously, instead of stopping the heels, he tries to stop the babyface.
Out.
He tries to push Haystacks out of the match, and he can't move him.
He's literally doing the thing of, like, his body is leaned up. He's putting all his weight, and he's, like, trying to step, but his feet are going nowhere.
It's funny, but then the bell starts ringing out of nowhere.
No. First, I gotta get a couple notes in before we get to the end of this match. A couple notes for me. So yeah, we had that dumb fucking like Haystack somehow convincing the ref to look the other way spot. Stupid. We had Vince on commentary made note of somebody getting hit with a clenched fist, but not in a way that sounded disapproving. So I don't know if the fucking close-handed fist rule was in play in 77.
No, it definitely is. I don't know why Vince was being weird. But it was definitely a thing. It's
Vince McMahon. Vince also notes that Fuji and Tanaka do a lot of growling in there. Psychological tactics, of course. You keep saying that word. I don't think it means what you think it means, Vincent.
Yeah.
One more thing. I got to give a shout out to this fucking ref who at one point, Dominic DeNucci has, I think, Fuji down. He pulls Fuji down for a pin, and the ref is kind of on the other side of them. The ref fucking vaults over Dominic. Like, Dominic's like kind of down.
Oh yeah, he kind of stumbles too.
And the ref fucking like parkour vaults Dominic DeNucci and to get to the other side of him to count the pin. That's the most insane shit.
He's got to be able to see them shoulders.
This ref was into it, and I loved it. And he wasn't a spring chicken too. This ref looked like he was in his 50s. It just goes whoop right the fuck up. But yes, so
in what is the most insane thing imaginable for a fake show, the match just abruptly ends because they've hit the 11 o'clock curfew. They can't wrestle anymore. They got to end the show.
The fourth non-pin finish of the night, and it's the way the show ends.
And so they're like, well, because the Fuji and Tanaka were ahead on points by the at curfew, they win.
Yeah, so we're not even sending the fucking audience home happy. What? Apparently they're the heels, I guess. I don't know. I thought they were the faces, which is why they got
I would be unhappy regardless of who wins this match.
Yes.
This was but I couldn't believe it. Like, I can't emphasize. Okay, so like, all right, I'm gonna use this as an example, right? Is it like back when I was more frequently listened to like Fightful's post show reviews, is a thing Sean Ross Sapp would never be okay with is logical issues, in the sense of like, you'd get arguments of like, well, this dumb thing that Sean thinks is dumb. He would be like, well, it had to be this way because of XYZ prior plot thing. And Sean's response was always, you script the show. You can get around it any way you want.
Yes.
And I fully agree with that philosophy. And I'm going to re-bring it in here. You script the show. You know that you have to be done by 11 o'clock. Why did you script the show in such a way that this happened?
I don't understand. Like, maybe, like, I can't comprehend.
Did something go long?
Like, yeah, the only explanation is like either abject stupidity or just weird esoteric logistical issues where they legitimately hit the actual curfew that MSG had set for this shit.
I guess.
And like they were stuck between a rock. But again, it's like just you're already clearly creating these super deep storylines here. Just fucking let one of the teams be squashed a little.
Yeah,
it's
and even
fine.
If it is,
they can get their power back later.
Even if you do are like running into issues and you can't start this tag match until 6 minutes to go. Like, what was stopping you from saying, actually, this isn't 2 out of 3 falls?
Yeah,
and then just running the 3-minute match that you run in the mat that you run for the first fall, and then you're done. Like,
yeah, because the fucking official sounds so just kind of like whatever about the announcement. He's like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess Fuji and Tanaka actually got a pin, so point goes to them, I guess. The audience is like, oh, okay.
Like, unless you advertise it going in that this was a 2 out of 3 falls match, then like you don't have to stick to that. You can just be like, fuck it, we're doing 1 fall. We don't got time.
Yeah, I guess. Like it's stupid. It was so, what a fucking way to end this, dude. But I was happy that it was over finally. That was the longest fucking 2 hours and 17 minutes of my life. And when it finally came to a head, I was like, wait, I think
it's over. We're done.
It is. By God, finally, it is fucking over.
Yeah. Look, I'm happy we did this, because this was new ground. This was new ground for this podcast, and it was neat to see certain wrestlers in their primes in a way that we've never gotten to really see before. You know, Bruno, Andre, Billy Graham. But like, this show was not great with my modern 2023 eyes on it. And,
I'm glad we could do, you know what? If this is our way of tributing Billy Graham slogging through what wrestling was like in his heyday, you know,
and calling him the highlight of the show.
Yeah, Godspeed, King, rip in peace. Again, he more than anyone else on the show really felt like the prototype of modern pro wrestling characters to come, especially like as they spun off from like Hulk Hogan tier sensibilities. He certainly, you can see a lot of him in later guys. So he clearly had a special je ne sais quoi that was a little ahead of what everyone else was doing. So that was cool to see in action. And it was cool, boring as I may have found it, to see like what wrestling was like back before like sports entertainment was the modus operandi, and it was like, let's really pretend like we're a sport. So an interesting intellectual venture. Please, Austin,
we're never going this far back ever again.
Mercy. Oh, my merciful God, King, we are not worthy.
Remember this feeling for next time.
Oh,
because next time,
wait,
this is when we gotta go back to '98 for the fucking Brawl for All. So,
wasn't I calling you a merciful deity last time for not making me watch fucking Brawl for All shit this week?
You probably did say that, yes.
Fuck. No. Fuck. It never comes true.
Destiny arrives all the same.
Damn
or in this case,
it!
Brawl for All.
I don't want it to arrive. Can't it just go to someone else's house?
No.
Oh.
This podcast is finishing Brawl for All, god damn it.
No! I will turn this podcast around.
Absolutely.
Oh, yay.
But that is for next time. Until then, David, hit the plugs.
Yes, sir. Dear friends, thank you all so much for listening to yet another episode of the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. We are so delighted to have you here. Returning listeners, viewers, what have you. You all know the drill. Thank you so much for once again welcoming us back into your eardrums, your eyeballs, whatever the hell it is you use to consume our content. We are so delighted to have you here and that you continue to spend your time with us. We love you guys. You know how it goes. New people, hey, hi, how's it going? Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. We here at the Noobs and Knockouts podcast like to think we are friendly to both noobs and knockouts alike. So whether you're brand new to the wild, wacky world of wrestling or you're a veteran of all the weird bullshit, either way, we are so happy that you're here. We hope you feel welcome here. We hope things feel nice and accessible to you. We hope you've had a great time. And if you want to keep having a great time with us week after week after week, I will tell you all of the ways that you can do so, just as kind of, give you the broad scope of all your options here. First of all, of course, you can find us on YouTube. We are the Noobs and Knockouts podcast on YouTube. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, make sure it turns a nice little solid color so you get notifications every single time we drop a brand new episode. Check out all of our playlists because Austin is kind enough to organize all of the arcs that we follow into all of their own separate playlists so you can follow something all the way down without having to skip around a whole lot. It's very nice. And give us that sweet engagement with your likes and comments and whatnot. And hey, you can see our lovely fancy HUD and our beautiful faces as Austin and I reckon with the brain melting boredom of 1977 MSG tapings.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's that one's for all you sadists in the audience. Just come join us on the YouTube. It's a great time. But of course, if you're a fan of the all audio only experience and are much less of a sadist, you can come find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, 3 of the best places to find your podcast. Give us a listen, download our show. You can even give us nice little ratings and reviews if you're so inclined. Let the algorithm and other people know that, hey, these guys are pretty cool. Maybe more people should be listening to them. I don't know. I'm just saying, just a thought, just spitballing here. Either way, come give us a nice little listen. Treat your ears, folks, to the Noobs and Knockouts podcast on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Of course, we exist past this little void that we find ourselves in week after week. We have lives outside of this, shockingly. So you can find us on a few other places on the web outside of our show itself. First and foremost, of course, is our Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at Noobs and Knoxpod. That's at Noobs, the letter N, Knoxpod on Twitter. Come check us out there. We post memes. We engage in discourse. We put up a post every single time you guys drop a brand new episode, so you guys always know what the hell is going on. Of course, the highlight of our Twitter is weekly wrestling live tweeting. Whenever we can. Austin and I have been kind of busy boys recently, but when we can, every Wednesday night that we possibly can, on TBS, at 8 p.m. Yes, at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we are watching AEW Dynamite. I'm talking all about that show. That is the show that I consistently follow and Austin sometimes follows. I'm
back on it. I just don't watch live.
That's fair. I've been trying to watch live more. It's going to get spotty for me again, but I'm doing my best here, all right? On top of that, when we have the time, it hasn't been a lot recently, but, if we're feeling spicy, we'll also try to tweet out, to live tweet about on Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern on TNT. What else? AEW Rampage. It is the show that y'all have been waiting on, but apparently not for much longer. It's going to fucking die and be replaced with Collision.
It's about to be the C show, brother.
It's about to be turned into Dark, and you know what? I'm here for it.
Dark was great. Dark. I liked Dark. It had more than one women's match.
True. Yeah, maybe Tony will finally grow the balls to book multiple women on the show.
You. Fuck you, not.
Women aren't here. Women aren't here.
Ring of Honor Tony be like, I got all sorts of women's matches.
Oh my God, the women are here. Tony's like, well, actually, the women aren't a draw, so obviously that means I can't put more than one. You're lucky that I'm putting any women on TV. Actually, fuck.
I mean that almost unironically is what he says.
That's pretty much, yeah. He's like, well, it's Thunder Rose is lucky I gave her any time to announce her belt and her belt run ending injury. She don't draw like CM Punk does. Not that I ever give any of these women a chance to. What was I talking about anyway? So we do tweet about AEW Rampage. I'm sure we'll be tweeting some about Collision too when it happens. That's coming around next month. But yes, so all that good shit. On top of that, my boy Austin, being the knockout that he is, likes to follow all of the major company pay-per-views and sometimes even tweet about them. And we like to tell you guys about them because, hey, pay-per-views are awesome. They're a lot of fun, especially for a new viewer. They're a great jumping on point. They're phenomenal exhibitions of the best that wrestling has to offer. And, it's when every company hits a new chapter in their storytelling, a lot of old storylines end, a lot of new storylines start. It's kind of a great jumping on point. So we like to tell you guys all about them. My friend, what is on the docket coming up?
Right, so this is awkward. Normally in these segments, I would, have be able to talk about various upcoming matches. But here's the thing: we're releasing this episode over Memorial Day weekend, and all three major companies are running shows this weekend. So it's like, what am I going to tell you about?
Literally, I mean, if you're listening to this on Sunday the 28th and you're feeling like watching a pay-per-view tonight,
late.
You got I mean, if they, I don't know how late this is going out tomorrow. Maybe they
7 o'clock as always. So
well, never mind then. Fucking Double or Nothing and whatever the fuck NXT.
If you skip to the end of these podcasts just for this part, then
absolutely, like any normal person does.
Right. Anyway, so let's talk about the matches upcoming. The shows upcoming. Impact Wrestling. You can watch that, by the way, on a weekly basis on Access TV, or if you're a normal person who doesn't get that level of cable, you can watch it also on with a YouTube channel subscription. They air, I think they air that it's like commercial free, but it starts like 30 minutes late or something, something like that. Anyway, their upcoming show on June 9th against All Odds, one of their Impact Plus shows. It's not a pay-per-view. It's on their streaming service. They have several, they don't do a lot of pay-per-views anymore. They can't afford it. So they do they fill in the blanks with those, right? And it is taking place in Columbus, Ohio.
Yes.
I have tickets to this. So I will be at this show and at the TV tapings the next night.
Damn.
So
that's exciting.
I'm very excited about that. Even as they are running an angle where Rosemary goes back to being a normal person and Jordan Grace is a free agent now. And it's like, God damn it.
Yeah, Austin talks nonstop about these two women and how he absolutely loves them and they're two of his faves and they're just fucking it all up for him.
And
it's a
Bully
personal
Ray
attack.
Came back to help.
Bully Ray came back.
The title.
No,
this is the worst case fucking scenario right now.
Yeah, what you were talking all that good shit, Austin, about I'm so annoyed with
he hasn't been back.
I'm so annoyed with AEW. At least Impact has got nothing wrong that I could be upset about right now. Ha 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 ha.
Bully Ray is here. He
descends from the high horse with his head held low.
Or like he descended from hell. But whatever.
I meant you, but yes.
Okay. I thought you meant Bully Ray.
No.
Whatever. June 9th against All Odds. I'm sure it'll be a great show. I'm excited to get it go anyway, but minor disappointments.
If you see Billy Ray, give him a good jeer for me.
Yeah, I'll absolutely happy to tell Bully Ray he can fuck off forever.
Fuck himself.
All right, for AEW, there next up, we already talked about the weekly shows for AEW. Their next show on pay-per-view is June 25th. Forbidden Door.
It's gonna be sick.
Their Super Show crossover with New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
It is gonna be at least a week or so more before we really know what matches because New Japan's next big show is Dominion on the 4th. So we still got a bit of waiting to do so we can get a good sense of where Forbidden Door is going to look like. In the women's division, though, we are in a bit of a
know that
hellscape.
Mercedes Moné will not be on.
Neither will Jamie Hayter. We were all hoping for Hayter Monet, and then both of them get injured. So never mind. Forbidden Door season. Yeah, man, her shoulder's fucked, and she's almost certainly dropping the title to Tony. Because Sean Ross Sapp reported that her injury is bad. Her shoulder's fucked, and right now it's good enough that she can drop the belt legitimately, but everyone's she's probably dropping to Tony.
Fuck me, no! And they didn't even give the fucking match to Ruby. Fuck off.
Yep. Them's the breaks. It's why Jamie Hayter hadn't wrestled in a month. Is because she's hurt.
Dude, oh my fucking god. They should have given it to... Why didn't they give the match to Ruby? Tony's already had the belt.
Or Saraya.
Not Saraya. Give it to Ruby. Saraya doesn't need the fuking belt.
She doesn't, but she feels like the one most likely. I feel like in the reality where Jamie isn't hurt, she's the most likely to have beat Tony for it. Jamie for it, yeah.
Yeah.
But whatever. Forbidden Door will be very exciting.
Drinking Haterade soon.
We'll probably get Kenny versus Ospreay if Ospreay isn't hurt.
Yeah, well.
I think that's kind of up in the air as well.
Man. NJPW can't catch a break.
Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. though. We can do that, right? They're good. There's no reason why we can
finally do that. We don't got an early premiere Claudio Castagnoli this time around. And goddamn, both members of Aussie Open are kind of hurt right now too, aren't they?
Well, it's more that they just signed with AEW and they just left New Japan. So,
I thought they were.
I think one of them is. Kyle Fletcher, I think, is fine.
Kyle Fletcher was hurt.
He just wrestled Orange, so I think he's fine.
Poor TK, or they're poor NJPW though. They're just catching strays left and right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's up for AEW. Then for WWE, their next show is you can watch Raw on USA Network, SmackDown on Fox. Mondays at 8 for Raw, Fridays at 8 for SmackDown. And for WWE, they're next going to London for Money in the Bank.
MITB.
It's that time of the year again.
Oh, briefcase time?
It's briefcase season.
I do love me some briefcases.
As usual, there'll be one Money in the Bank match for a world title match, one Money in the Bank for a women's title match. Could Cody finish his story?
No.
You're right. Why did I even suggest that? Why did I even say that?
Probably Brock Lesnar might do it with some shenanigans. Who knows? I don't fucking know. Because who the fuck? Actually, who might do it now that we know what's happened at Night of Champions? It might be fucking Jimmy Uso gets it.
Oh, is that how they justify Jimmy beating Roman for the belts? Is they give him Money in the Bank?
Yeah, they might just.
Because I know people talked about how it'd be really shit for one of the Usos because they're just not at that level as singles guys to beat Roman after all this time. And what if that's how they did it?
Yep. Yeah, no, I could very much see it being an MITB thing. Oh, no, I just made Austin really sad.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, did I just actually throw out a really depressingly plausible reality?
I don't think they'll do it, but
who the fuck else? Because I don't think Cody does it.
You were kind of in a place of do you want the Money in the Bank winner to cash in on Cody? Alternatively, do you want the Money in the Bank holder to cash in on Seth Rollins, who won the belt today and will be won the brand new title today and will be a champion for a month?
Then whoever does it probably fucking loses.
Yeah. They might have another fucking briefcase loser this year.
Yeah, I could see that. Anyway,
that's what's the wrestling world today.
Yay!
I feel like we didn't enthusiastically talk. That's a pretty bad endorsement.
Well, look, wrestling's fun, we promise.
Yeah.
Don't let this entire episode
This entire episode has been a bad... If you were trying to sell someone on wrestling being worth getting into, this whole episode was in fact a bad endorsement of this.
Noobs, you didn't hear this episode.
You clicked the wrong one.
Go listen to, I don't know, our Glow episode, please, God. Anyway, but yes. So that's what's going on. If you like listening to us ramble about this bullshit on podcasts, you'll enjoy it over on the Twitter too. And hopefully you have fun engaging in this with us, even if sometimes the shows themselves are lackluster. That's wrestling. But it's also cool. We swear to God. But yes, so Noobs at Noobs and Knox Pod on Twitter. Of course, if you want to get in more long-form contact with us past those pesky character limits, you can do so via our email address. You can email us at noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. That's noobs and the word and knockoutspod@gmail.com. Come say hi to us. Tell us what you think about the show. Request things you want to see us cover on the show. Tell us how based and red pill our hot takes are, or if we're just fucking idiots. I don't know. Start discourse with us. Just say hi. We love people saying hi. We would love to say hi back. Noobs and knockoutspod@gmail.com. And of course, finally, you can also find us on Patreon. We have a Patreon account. We are also the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast on Patreon. The link for that is in our Twitter. $1 a month gets you early access to episodes and a shout out at the end of each episode. Shout out, of course, to who else? Friend of the show, the Sugar Daddy, Kyle Smith, for being the best patron one could ever ask for. Thanks for your support, buddy. Enjoy those perks. If you want to enjoy your perks along with our dear friend Kyle, be sure to subscribe over on that Patreon for just a singular little bone. Nice and simple, nice and easy, but hey, it helps us out tremendously more than you would even know. Just one person commits a bone, then more people commit bones. Suddenly we got a lot of bones, and we like bones, don't we, Austin?
That was a weird analogy you went for there.
Don't worry about it.
I'm not going to dignify it.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Either way, link for the Patreon is in our Twitter.
See y'all next time.
Hasta luego.